This is Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily with Andrew Hustler Paterson and Michael Remis.
Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to WST. Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily is live. Andrew Paterson, Michael Remis with you, and we have a lot to get to. Bit of a dud last night at Canada Life Center. The Jets getting shut out by the Seattle Kraken. The good news is, though, no time to dwell and hopefully not have to even talk about last night's game very much, because we got another big one tonight for the Jets, hosting the Calgary Flames, looking to get back into the win column and start another streak. Busy weekend for the Jets. Of course, just played yesterday. They've got the game tonight, and then Sunday afternoon, we'll see the Utah Mammoth Canada Life Center for the first time. But stealing the show from coast to coast tonight, it is the Toronto Blue Jays and the Los Angeles Dodgers. Game 1 of the World Series goes tonight as well. So if you're like me, planning on taking in the hockey game, don't be surprised if we see a lot of phones out streaming the game while watching the Jets and the Calgary Flames. Coming up on the program today, get ready for a victory lap from Jeff Hamilton. If you tuned into the show yesterday, you will realize that much to both my chagrin and Michael Remis's, the Hammer did it again and won the WST poker tournament on Wednesday night. So we're going to have to suck it up and hear about that. We will talk about the Bombers tomorrow. And interesting, I got to say, I love the move by the team. I was saying that I was hoping that they were going to do this earlier in the week. They've made the playoffs. They're probably going to Montreal. Zach Caleros, Brady Oliveira, not in the game today. We'll get to the lineup and the players that are being rested. But the Bombers are not taking any chances. They need to be as healthy as possible to put their best foot forward next week, likely against Montreal, not necessarily tomorrow. So we'll talk Bombers, CFL landscape, a little bit of baseball as well with Jeff when he joins us. Murat Ates as well of The Athletic will pop on the program. And the Hacksaw, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Now, normally we spend most of our time talking NFL and the NFL Notebook. But with Hacksaw down in SoCal, I know we're going to lead into the World Series quite a bit and all the great storylines around this series that begins tonight. Patty G, Pat Gregoire from Coolbet will pop by at the end of the program. We'll get to marbles. And by the way, for those of you that shout out to everyone that jumped on this morning when we were live, the WST Winners NFL Pick Show with myself, Pat, and Jake live are up now on the YouTube channel and on the Winners podcast feed. I did go 5-0 last week against the spread. Just saying, it's 9-1 in the last 2 weeks. So hopefully we can keep that rolling. So if you want more on the NFL and picks and sort of game analysis and leans, that's all there on the YouTube channel over at over on Winnipeg Sports Talk. Let's bring in Michael Remis. Just before we do that, a huge thanks to all of our sponsors here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. Of course, our partners at Coolbet, Princess Auto, the Winnipeg Jets, along with the HSC Millionaire Lottery, Rolly's Transfer, St. Vital Dental Center and Canadian Club, Uptown Alley, Chud's Power Sports, Manitoba Battery, Rolly's Transfer, Clean Line, Boston Pizza, Royal Sports, Little Brown Jug. We'll get to a why not question of the day. And, of course, fan feedback for fansfirst.ca. NFL, the Friday NFL Power Poll as well, coming up for Chud's Power Sports a little later on. And, hey, just before we bring in Michael Remis, I will remind you that the Jets are playing today, and that means you can score a great deal at McDonald's using the app with the McDonald's Game Day deals. Every day the Jets play, home or away, all day long. Grab the McDonald's app and your choice of a Big Mac or Filet-O-Fish for just $4.49 every Jets game day for the McDonald's Game Day deals only through the McDonald's app. Let's get this rolling. Michael Remis, it's Friday. There's so much going on. How are you?
Feeling good. Yeah, ready for the weekend coming up. A busy one. Jets tonight, Jays, Bomber afternoon. Should be a great weather game as well. NFL. So exciting time of year. Is it sports equinox with NBA, NFL, MLB, NHL? I guess there's no game. Maybe Monday would be it, actually. So, yeah, exciting. Not as exciting as last night's Jets game hosting Seattle. Hopefully Hopefully we see, another Jets win tonight, as a win streak did get snapped by the Kraken yesterday.
You and Connor did a great job in the post game. Kind of hard to muster up too much from that one. Listen, I didn't think it was like a terrible performance or anything by the Jets. Just wasn't a lot of juice to that game at all. There's a lot of shots on net, not a lot of really great grade A scoring chances from my perspective. And listen, it was going to come down to sort of a bounce one way or the other. Jets lost a guy on a rebound. They scored a goal. Glorious chance at the end of the first period. Scheifele off the crossbar, puck right on the goal line. Gabriel Vilardi couldn't pop it in. We'll actually hear from Vilardi. He had a kind of funny back and forth with Ken earlier today. And then in the third period, the Jets really took over, had lots of pressure, were not able to solve Joey Decord. So a loss to start off this 3-4, not the way they wanted to get going, but they've got an opportunity to get right back at it tonight. I will say this, Remis. We almost had, dare I say, a near iconic moment last night. Lots of talk about Logan Stanley's start to the season. He scored 2 goals, playing a lot with Neil Pionk while Dylan Samberg is out. The stand dangle last night that was performed by big number 64, if that had gone in, that would have completely changed the complexion of the game, the atmosphere in the building. I mean, it was such an unexpected play by Logan Stanley. To be honest, the stand dangle is what stands out to me from that game, because frankly, there was not too many other memorable things happening, at least from the home team.
Yeah, the best scoring chance was at the second period with shot off the crossbar, Gabriel Vilardi right in the crease. Can't quite get the stick on it. Mark Scheifele following up with a shot. I would agree. The biggest pop of the night at Canada Life Center last night was a great shift by the fourth line. I thought Morgan Barron was buzzing. It was
awesome
one of the
game for Barron last night.
Yeah, I mean, didn't get on the score sheet in terms of goals or assists as they were shut out, but I thought he was the one guy who had some legs from the bottom lines on the Jets. And yeah, Logan Stanley gets the puck, makes a beautiful dangle, and gets a quick wrister off. And Joey Decord, he stopped all the shots that he faced, but that was the loudest pop. People were ready to cheer. Big stands, big third goal of the season. And that was a game very similar to the one that we saw in WST night last January, where the Winnipeg Jets took the Kraken into overtime, and it was Dylan DeMello. Or sorry, was that overtime or was it right before regulation?
I think it was right at the end of regulation.
It was right at the end of regulation. DeMello scored the winner, and it felt like a similar game, and you thought, okay, if they just get one, they have a chance here to take this thing to overtime and get a win. Couldn't get the one. I thought they had some push in the third after kind of snoring through the first two.
Yeah, and listen, give credit where credit is due. I thought Seattle was really good. Like, I thought they frustrated the Jets similar to how the Jets frustrate a lot of teams. I think they're well coached by Lane Lambert. And listen, they were full marks to come in and give themselves a great chance to win. Their goalie played really well. We move on to tonight and the Calgary Flames. We will hear from Scott Arniel, his thoughts on the game last night and a few other things. Last night in the NHL, Reem, some interesting results. It was a very, very busy night. We had a 5-point effort from Michael Granlund, and the Ducks beat the Bruins in Boston 7-5. Sens get a big win over Philly. The Panthers lose again. How about this start by Pittsburgh? 6-2. Who saw that coming? Sid the Kid, 2 goals and an assist. Brad Marchand, 2 for the Panthers. Macklin Celebrini, a hat trick and 5 points. And the Sharks get their first win of the season in OT over the New York Rangers. Very interesting Central Division battle, and the Jets are going to need to be ready on Sunday. This Utah Mammoth team went to 6-2 last night, going into St. Louis, dropping 4 on them in the first period and running away with it 7-4. Kings beat the Stars in Dallas in OT. A wild game between Montreal and Edmonton that ended up 6-5 for the Oilers. Very controversial penalty to Josh Anderson, which gave the Oilers a power play in the third period to tie the game, and then they ended up winning it. But I wanted to bring up one other game last night, and it was the marquee game, in my opinion, of the night. It was the Carolina Hurricanes against the Colorado Avalanche. Now, this game was played in Colorado with the Avalanche wearing the Quebec Nordiques jerseys and the Hurricanes wearing the white Hartford Whaler jerseys. Now, full disclosure, the jerseys are awesome. We all remember them. We love them. I honestly felt almost a little sick watching the game last night of seeing both of these franchises wear the Hartford and the Quebec jerseys. They had it like the score bug on the game was HFD and QUE, which made no sense to me. And I have a feeling our perspective in Winnipeg is a little different on this. But I mean, if we didn't get the Jets back and we were still sitting in a non-NHL era, and we had the team down in Arizona calling themselves Winnipeg and wearing the Jet jerseys, I would have wanted to puke. Like, whatever. I get the jerseys are cool and they'll sell a bunch of merch, but honestly, I felt really bad for people of Quebec City, people in Hartford, not as much, but especially in Quebec City. It just feels like it's rubbing salt in the wounds.
Couldn't agree more, Hustler. I do like that they make the jerseys available because you can't buy new ones of those. And, you know, if you want to get a Nordiques jersey or Hartford, you're going on Marketplace or on eBay and people are charging, you know, a lot of money and you're getting a used jersey. But yeah, I get they have cool jerseys and the goalies are wearing, you know, cool pad setups here with the brown, but it makes you want to throw up. Those, you know, having HFD and QUE on the score bug, total slap in the face. That's even worse to me than wearing the jerseys. I took a picture of it.
I was going to text you last night, but you guys were doing the post game, so I didn't want to bug you.
I'll bring it up here. I mean, like, they're not in Hartford. They're not in Quebec City. They moved. And to have that on the score, if you want to wear them and have the regular CAR score bug, but like, if you're going to do that, have the game in those cities. I think it's insulting. It's dancing on the grave of those teams, pissing on the fans. I don't like it. And now I know people are lining up for the merch. Like, people that merch can't get off the shelf can't stay on the shelf quick enough there in Colorado. But it's gross. I think it's taking advantage of fans' pain.
Yeah, I mean, and like, obviously the Jets moved to Phoenix and they never did anything. I mean, they were sort of a joke franchise the entire time that they were there. Quebec lost their team and they won the freaking cup a year later. Like, if I was a Nordique fan, I would never get over it. Probably would just recuse myself from watching the NHL for the rest of my life. We all remember what it felt like in '96 when the team left. Imagine the Phoenix Coyotes like winning the cup in '97 or '98. I mean, I guess you would have been happy for a few players that you followed here, but anyways, I just thought I'd bring that up. And listen, I think our perspective here in Winnipeg, having lost a team, is I thought Ariel Hirani, who of course is a great MMA journalist, originally from Montreal, and he had a similar take that I did, and reckoned to just how much it hurt losing the Expos. And, you know, if you had the Nats or whoever it was out there calling themselves the Montreal Expos, I mean, it was, anyways, I mean, they'll sell a lot of jerseys. They're going to make money, but I didn't like that. And I think many people, more so here in the PEG, probably agree with that take than outside of it.
I think so. And I do remember didn't they have a ceremony for Dale Howardchuk in Arizona retiring his jersey, and it was led to a very awkward picture. I believe that happened. And it's funny because the NHL is going through expansion, and you know, there's a big fan base in Quebec City. They have this new huge nice arena, and they seem to be going out of their way to not include them, and they'll probably never get a team back because the fees right now are just so Quebec. You want Quebec inclusion in the National Hockey League? This is it. 2 games where the Colorado Avalanche are going to wear your old jerseys. I hope you enjoy it. I mean, I will say though, you know, the aside from how we disagree them doing this, I mean, the jerseys look amazing. It looked really cool on the
Agreed.
ice. We can't argue with that. And Greg Wyshynski noted on X, this entire game is an argument for a reimagining of the current NHL sweater aesthetic. And I have said for a long time, name one team in the NHL that has a better jersey now than in the 90s? I don't think you can name one. Like Florida Panthers, like their jersey that they won the cup in, it's terrible. Pick the Anaheim Ducks. We've been craving for them to go back to the OG jerseys, and they seem to not want to do that at all.
The Ducks have been the worst in the league for a long time.
And they've been the worst in the league for a long time. Tampa Bay Lightning's Maple Leaf imitation jerseys, like their old jerseys, their Stanley Cup jerseys from 2006, they had personality. There's no personality. So I'll agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, and again, this is going to be a take that'll get people going. I'll be honest, I am not really a big fan of the Jet 90s jerseys. I mean, this is the thing about the heritage jerseys that are so great.
And they looked amazing yesterday.
My God, the kits. It's the best in the league, if you ask me.
Yes.
The kits that the Jets are wearing now are so nice because they basically have taken, that old round logo, along with some things from, even the WHA era, and made a jersey that is legitimately 100 times better than the one that the team was wearing during the 80s. I mean, the Jets 80s jersey with that round logo was basically a New York Rangers knockoff jersey that had, the straight white down the sides. And there wasn't much to it. Like the ones they have now, they did such a great job on those. That's part of the reason why so many people, I think, believe that would be a better choice for a permanent home kit. Which could happen at some point in the future. But I never thought that the jerseys were our strength during the National Hockey League point. And certainly the kits the Jets have now, both the regular ones, but especially the heritage ones, I think are pretty darn good. Listen, Reem, we're going to get to, we've got Hammer coming up, but we'll hear from Arnie and Gabriel Vilardi after that. Murat's popping on, and of course Hacksaw. Let's quickly just touch on World Series tonight. This is just wild. Trey Savage, he isn't even a rookie. He'll be a rookie next year in Major League Baseball. Starting game 1 of the World Series. Still waiting to see where Bo is going to fit into the lineup. But the excitement continues to build, and it really is coast to coast in Canada right now for the Dodgers' visit to the Dome tonight.
Yeah, merch flying off the shelves, ticket prices astronomical, excitement very high for the first World Series in Canada since 1993. Pharrell is going to be there. They got anthem singers Alessia Cara, former Grey Cup halftime show performer, is going to be doing one of the anthems. So I know her.
Who can remember the Alicia Cara Grey Cup?
It was a great halftime show. So I'm excited to see what's going to happen. How are the Jays going to stack up? And importantly for them, Bo Bichette back on the roster. We've seen videos of him running, testing out his knee. How is he going to perform? Who's going to play the field? Who's going to DH? And you can argue that the Jays team now, with Bo Bichette back in the lineup, better than the team that beat Seattle in the ALCS. So I think we're going to see, their lineup, very strong, but how will they stack up against the Dodgers pitching, which is pretty all-time here?
Hey, speaking of the game tonight, if you check the Coolbet Twitter or mine, guys did a really fun and awesome promo. If you want to take them up on it, if you bet a $19.93 bet on a home run tonight, and just respond with your bet slip to that tweet, and it doesn't hit, you'll get a $19.93 bonus in your account. So essentially, it's a risk-free home run bet. I'm on my guy Alejandro Kirk for tonight. I know a bunch of folks have gone in on Vladdy and Dalton Varsho and some of the other ones. But I'll mention that. Pat's going to pop on later on. We'll fill you in on more of the details. But if you do want to take advantage of that, I see Sean Reynolds brooding pessimism from earlier in the show in chat. He said, I just want to apologize to all the WST gang who jumped on the exclusive at Coolbet last night. One day I finally decided to take Huss's advice and lay 20 down. That was on me too. I thought we might be able to recapture the magic of Monday with the Taves goal and a Morrissey assist. Tonight we're locked in though on the Blue Jays, and hopefully can get some winners for somebody. And as I say, that home run prop is a basically risk-free. But just check out the tweet, follow the instructions if you want to ride with us. Pat will join us a little later on after Hacksaw, just before Marbles. Remis, what chance do you give the Jays of winning the World Series?
30%. What's the odds? I was going to say 30%. Is that, I don't know what the implied number is, but I think they have a shot. I think it's going to be really hard. The one thing that I liked is the their lineup. I think very deep, and you saw that against Seattle. Their 7, 8, 9 hitters doing damage. The pitching is the big question mark. You know, what version of Scherzer are you getting? What version of Bieber are you getting? Reyes Savage, you know, he was great against the Yankees. His first start against Seattle wasn't that solid, and I thought he worked through a lot of trouble there in the last one. So, the Dodgers, they're a super team. They're a juggernaut. They have Ohtani. They have Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. You know, they're pitching Yamamoto, Ohtani, Glasnow. So these are all-stars upon all-stars.
It's an all-star team, basically.
I felt like whoever was playing in the ALCS was playing for the right to lose to the Dodgers. Now, do I think there's a range of outcomes where Toronto could upset the Dodgers? You know, maybe they get their start, work some at-bats, and you force their starters out of games early, and you get to the bullpen that hasn't really been a strong point for them.
Hasn't barely pitched, over the last little bit. They had the 17 innings from their first two starters in games 1 and 2 against Milwaukee. By the way, that plus 186 number is a 35% implied probability. So
I'm pretty good at math.
1 in 3.
I'm pretty good at math. I'm pretty good at. So I lined up with the odds. So yeah, that's kind of how I feel. And I think the odds reflect those chances. They know the odds makers. That's why they're the odds makers.
Ty Petcow in chat, is Hammer 3-0? The answer is yes. He's going to join us in a few minutes, and we'll get to it. We'll start talking about the Bombers, Remo. As well. Just, we'll kind of dive into this more with Jeff. But as I mentioned, they're sitting all the top players. And I have to admit, I am fine with it. At this point, they are what they are. They've got to find a way to come up with one of their best performances of the year if they're going to expect to win on the road in the semifinal, whether they're in Calgary or more likely Montreal. And especially going up against Montreal this week, I don't really know what the benefit is of playing a Caleros. I don't think they're just going to get it right in this game, and then all of a sudden that's going to mean they win next week. It's all about next week right now. So we'll see Strevler and some of the backups get some reps, and the goal will be to have Brady, Zach, Nick Dembski back in the lineup for next week when it really counts.
Yeah, you've seen. I agree. They're even if they play well. If they did play the Stars, it doesn't mean they're going to play well in Montreal or Hamilton, wherever that first playoff game may be. And you've seen too many games this year with Zach Collaros in there, and he takes a hit and he leaves the game. And that's not what you want to happen in this game. So I agree. Rest the starters, prepare for the next game. There is really no point because again, they have a good game like they did against Hamilton, and then the next one is, questionable at best. And then if they want to have any success at all, they need Zach Collaros healthy. You need Ontario Wilson healthy. You need everyone healthy playing at their best. And you just haven't had that. So I agree. Resting. Look, they're going to come out rusty in that first playoff game. We're like, they should have played them. But no. We've seen from game to game, there's no consistency this year.
No. So you know what? If they've got a good game in them, save it for next week and get ready and go out and put your best foot forward and see if you can move on to the next round. As I said, Hammer's going to join us. We'll hit Bombers and some other topics. Murat a little bit later on, Hacksaw as well, and Pat Gregoire. Hey, looking for a great activity spot this weekend or in the coming weeks? Why don't you head down and visit our friends at Uptown Alley, 1301 St. Matthews Avenue, Winnipeg's premier fun and entertainment spot. If you haven't been there before, you got to check it out. They have this unbelievable facility with a ton of 5-pin bowling lanes, 10-pin bowling lanes, a massive games and entertainment area with great prizes to be won, not to mention incredible food and drink. Great spot to go with your gang for a few beers and a great night of bowling and laughs. Also a great spot to watch the game. Now, if you're looking for something a little later on at night, check out their Bowl and Play special. It's a daily deal after 9 p.m., 90 minutes of bowling and a $10 arcade card for $20.49 per person for 5-pin or $22.49 for 10-pin. They also are great for birthday parties for both kids, teens, and adults, and an amazing spot for groups and corporate events where you simply pick your activities, what you want to eat, your add-ons, and then their events team will help put everything together for a schedule and arrange all the details. If you want more information on that, go to uptownalley.ca, give them a call at 488-0000, or pop down and see them at 1301 St. Matthews Avenue and have a blast at Uptown Alley. Folks, if you have a move in your future, hit up our friends at Rolly's Transfer, great sponsors of Winnipeg Sports Talk. You might even get the WST truck to move your belongings to your next destination. Bottom line is, Rolly's is the most trusted name in moving in Manitoba, now into their 7th decade, locally owned and serving Manitobans, both in Winnipeg and throughout the province with their extensive logistics operations. Head on over to Rollies.com, click request an estimate, use the promo code WST for a special discount on moving services and supplies, and then simply let them know when and where you're planning on moving, what needs to go, and they'll turn it around with a great quote and get you locked in for the white glove service that Rollies is famous for over 60 years. For all your moving needs, make it Rollies Transfer. Find out more, request an estimate today at Rollies.com. I know our friends at St. Vital Dental Center are ready for the marble race. I know Dr. Terry's ready for the Blue Jays as well. He was out for one of the games in the ALCS. But St. Vital Dental Center has been serving generations of Winnipeggers in St. Vital, and now Dr. Terry and his wonderful staff have a beautiful new facility, 167 St. Anne's Road, convenient free parking in the back of the building, state-of-the-art equipment, and they've got you covered. Clients from 6 months to 99 plus, checkups, cleanings, all the way to things like dental implants. They've been doing it for years, and they can do it for you and your family. Make an appointment, pop by, tell them WST sent you, say hi, and if you're lucky, you might get one of those Friday afternoon appointments and can watch the marble race while Dr. Terry's working on your grill. And hey, just before we bring in the hammer, one more game tomorrow. Bombers sold out the entire season. It's incredible. We'll talk about that with Jeff in just a sec. But Canadian Club, they're stocking it up for another sold-out crowd. Of course, Canadian Club, the original Canadian whiskey since 1858. Also the official spirit of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And while it's available throughout Princess Auto Stadium, it is also available at your local Manitoba liquor marts in a special limited edition Blue Bomber label bottle while supplies last. Pick one up for Grey Cup celebrations and a great gift idea as well for the whiskey-loving Bomber fan. Find it today at Manitoba Liquor Marts. Big thanks to our friends at Canadian Club, the original Canadian whiskey. All right, let's bring in Jeff Hamilton. I mean, normally I would introduce him as our friend, my co-host from CFL 110, journalist with the Winnipeg Free Press. All of that is secondary, though, because this man has started, much to our chagrin, somewhat of a dynasty in the WST Poker League. Come on in, champ. Take your victory lap. Well done. I didn't think it was possible, but it is. And what can I say?
Thanks so much. You know what, Huss?
It's
just great to be here, right? Just a great opportunity to join a bunch of strangers around a table and play some cards and just pull off a little magic. I'll spare the the gloating, but I've had some conversations with people already from it, some of them who were in it, and it was funny because it's actually the bounty that kept me motivated. I wasn't getting cards, and I was kind of as often people do in games when they don't get cards and they kind of get lazy. At one point, I was in a 3-way conversation with my 2 siblings. I was like, guys, I need to pay attention to this a little bit more. And I was like, you know what? Then I realized I had the bounty. And I was like, I can't just whimper out. I'm like, I might as well just continue, like make someone earn it, right? If someone's going to take me out for $100, they should earn it. And then I got the cards. And then after that, it was just, I can't really share the secrets after that. It was just, when you hear about like pro athletes black out and then they come to like in the winner's circle, it was kind of like that a little bit, at the end. So it was very happy to do it. In fact, us too, I don't want to say I'm on a 3-0. I'm on a 3-0 run with WST, but I completely forgot that I was in Hecla with my boy. We did that Ryder Cup this year. First time I was part of it. And the first night we did a poker tournament. And I won that one too.
Come on.
Yeah. So I'm 4-0 in my last 4 poker tournaments. It's not like I play. I used to play a little bit more when I was younger. Like I was more eager about it. I even found myself, I'm sure there's a couple other listeners who can attest. I found myself, around a table at McPhillip Street Station once upon a time ago. And I only need to hang out there for about 15 minutes to realize I wasn't going to go back. But you know what? It's fun to play. You need the cards. You obviously need luck. I had both down the stretch, and I'm just happy to be here and talk about a 3-0 run. It really is surprising. It's surprising to everybody else. It's just as surprising to me.
Funniest comment in the chat, Tyson Ducharme. Didn't Hammer get picked up in the Chauncey Billups sweep? No, it's all on the up and up. Trust me. It was. So anyways, lots of fun.
Kidding.
Hopefully you guys can join us. We'll do another one in November and earlier in December, obviously, before the holidays.
One thing I want to address, too, we talked about it offline. You touched on it with Remo as he brought it up. I do think that our friends at Coolbet should consider handing over the bounty. If you couldn't give it away, you might as well hold on to it.
It's going to be doubled.
It's
going to be doubled for next time. Trust me. I'm going to run that up the flagpole.
Right on.
I'm going to run a few things up the flagpole. Maybe getting you out to Estonia for the Coolbet Open next year. Consider your performances. I'll be happy to roll with you on that one.
Think about this, man. Think about the movie that's being created right now. It's now it's going to get to a point where it's selling the rights off, and
you know what? I always loved so much our dear departed friend Ted Wyman with you and him on the road. I could take the Ted spot for a European poker trip with the two of us. It would be a lot of fun. Hey, let's get to I mean, fill everybody in. I mean, this Bomber lineup, as I say, I fully endorse this move. I said earlier this week, I don't see any benefit to having Caleros, Oliveira, anyone. You need these guys feeling as good as possible to come up with their best performance of the year. Whether that's possible, we'll see. But it doesn't matter this week. It matters next week. And that's the way Mike O'Shea and the Blue Bombers are going about their business.
Yeah, absolutely. And this idea of resting players, because we already know that the Bombers can't get any better than third place in the West, right? And I don't want to say it's necessarily a pick your poison, but it kind of is a pick your poison, right? We all know how dominating the West is and has been for years. The Bombers know that better than anybody. They're the ones who've been dominating it. But you go over to the East and you have Montreal waiting for you, right? And everybody who's been watching the league the last month or so knows that Montreal is the hottest team in the league right now, and really are only behind Hamilton because they didn't have Davis Alexander for a lot of games. I think he was out for 7 games. It was out for a while, and so it's kind of. I think the Bombers. I mean, they would never say this, but I think that you're looking at it a couple different ways. You're looking at maybe the easier route, and I use easy extremely lightly in this. Nobody is using the words easy when they're talking about playoff opponents. But I think anyone would view that going through the West would be maybe the easier first game. And again, I'm using easy lightly. Easier first game either up against BC or Calgary. I know the Bombers haven't had success against Calgary, but Calgary feels like a much different team than when they played them earlier in the year. The difference being, while it would be more challenging to have to play Montreal first, if you could get through that game, I think Hamilton is easier. Again, I use easy lightly. I just need to reinforce that because people seem to take 2 seconds out of a clip and try to, on things. I think it'd be a easier challenge to play Hamilton. You know Winnipeg's history with Hamilton, right? There's been years where Hamilton was the dominating team in the league, and the Bombers, beat them. In this case, once in the Grey Cup. I was going to say twice. They did beat them twice in the Grey Cup, but Bombers were the heavy favorites in 2021. But yeah, so I think that idea of resting players was on the table, or at least being discussed. I even had the conversation with a couple of players and write a story on it. It was just like, what about the potential of resting players and sitting guys out? And no player really talks about that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know if I know a single player in all the years I've covered this league and pro sports really in general that would be like, no, I don't want to play this week. You know what I mean? Like, I totally get it. Like, I don't, they need me for the final. Like, everybody, even if they do feel that a little bit, definitely doesn't really openly say it. So I brought up this idea, and it was kind of a bit of I don't want to say a debate per se, but it was like, you have this last game, for weeks, including head coach Mike O'Shea has talked about wanting to play your best football going into the playoffs. Well, by resting those players, you ultimately determine you're not, this team will not be playing its best football. So that mission in and of itself has failed, right? You're coming off a victory, but it was one of the worst victories we've seen this team, particularly over their Grey Cup making years. So that's not going to be accomplished. But to your point, Huss, that's the other side of the debate. Do you really want to have, your key players potentially getting injured? Of the 8 guys the Bombers are sitting, how many of those guys have bumps and bruises, have dealt with issues over the year? I imagine at least half of them. I mean, all of them would play if this was the West Final this week, but I'm sure a majority of them are dealing with issues, right? So you want to be rested. You want to be feeling good physically, even if you don't necessarily have that muscle memory from a game in a week, or in this case would be a couple weeks, right? By the time they do hit the field. So I'm not surprised by it. Part of me really thought that Mike O'Shea, being who he is, much like Jason Moss theology and all this, right? Like, he's saying, we need our guys to play. We want to continue to play. We don't want to have a lull in what's been, awesome football for them for the last, month, 6 weeks. Whereas Winnipeg hasn't been playing well. I don't think that they could do that in this final game, and therefore they're going to go with protecting their bodies, right? They want to go prepare, make sure they have people available. They already have Nick Dembski on the shelf. Dalton Schoen's been ruled out for the year. Like, this is, they can't afford to have another guy go down, wherever that might be, whether it be on offense or defense. So it is smart. It's just a really interesting situation to wake up to this morning, because, I think they're getting to it now, but the Vegas odds makers were a little behind the scene in this, not really knowing that not only was Winnipeg sitting a bunch of their players, but Montreal's is going to be playing their starters, starting Davis Alexander. And I don't see that as gamesmanship. I see that as Jason Moss, again, realizing his team's rolling. They're the best team in the league right now. Why would we take the foot off the gas? Let's go into Winnipeg, and have a fist fight and get ready for potentially playing them again the next week.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, like, the Bombers could go out against Montreal and put up 40 points. It wouldn't change anything. And honestly, depending on what Montreal is doing, like, the fact you're probably playing them the next week. I mean, there is an element of saving your bullets. I don't expect Alexander to play the entire game. They want to go out there and get some reps for their guys. I mean, the bottom line is these teams are likely playing next week. And I think it'll be a pretty vanilla game. But Strevler will be out there. We'll have no Zach Caleros, no Brady.
Like, why not Terry Wilson?
Dembski.
Like, I will say this.
Maybe he probably gets some time.
That's the thing. It could be Terry Wilson, because we know of all depth charts, Mike O'Shea's is probably the least revealing. But like, I just don't understand why you need to see another start from Chris Strevler. Like, nothing against Chris. Like him, respect him, think he's a great teammate. But like, why even have Terry Wilson on the roster if you're not going to play him? Like, you've seen this guy's college highlights, and I know that doesn't speak to everything. Like, everyone has college, highlight reels or broke records or whatever, but this guy has a solid arm. He's been with the team now a couple of years. Like, Mike O'Shea says he has a beautiful pass. Like, why don't we get to see some of that?
I mean, many people have been asking for that this year. I think it's pretty clear they don't have a lot of confidence in him. I mean, it brings up a whole bigger question that, we could be talking about in about 10 days, depending on what happens next week, is the future of the quarterback position for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. I mean, I think that everything has to be on the table after this season, unless, who knows, maybe there's a special miracle run coming up that's going to be going through likely the East. Just quickly on that, we've got Edmonton tonight taking on Calgary. They're going to do everything they can to win. They've got no tomorrow. And then Saskatchewan.
They're sitting out a handful of guys, though, too, right?
The Stamps are?
The Elks.
Really?
The Elks are resting guys, too. Man, we're at that time of year where it's not about pride necessarily. Like, if you're banged up and are, a hit away from being injured, you're out of the lineup. So go peek the Elks roster. They're not going
Fajardo
to be
starting?
I think so, but I know some guys are injured or out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, here's the thing. You're thinking about next year. Like, and I'm not trying to say that you don't want to finish strong. You do want to evaluate who, because we were selling this on CFL 110, right? We were talking about how if there was going to be an upset, and I believed that until I saw the roster, it was going to be Edmonton, right? Feel good, home team, cross-provincial rival. Ask Mark Killam. He said earlier in this week, we have a long list of reasons to give a care for this finale. But if you're truly thinking about 2026, like, do you want Justin Rankin to tear his knee in week 21 because you want to give the fans a show? You just ink this. He's your star. Like, I think, again, at this point in time of the season, at the end of the year, there are a handful of guys on every roster that are banged up. And while I'm sure guys would want to play, I'm sure any one of those guys in Edmonton that are out, would play if they were fully healthy. But I think you do need to be safe, even though you don't have anything to play for this year.
Yeah, well, the one team
I hijacked your question, though. So
yeah, well, I mean, listen, that's good to know. I mean, I was just of the assumption that Edmonton would be like, all right, we're going to try and stick it to Calgary, our arch rivals. I mean, finish off on a positive note and let this be another positive for us going into the season. I'm sure they will be playing to win, but that does change things a little bit, I guess. I mean, Calgary's the team that absolutely has to have this one. And then, of course, the BC Sask game on Sunday is interesting. Like, I think that we'll see a number of riders playing when a lot of people thought that might not be the case, because you don't want to be like the 2001 Bombers, where you basically give your star players a month off before the most important game of the year, and it takes you 3 quarters to kind of get going. I mean, that's not what Corey Mace is looking for. Of course, the one game tonight, Hamilton and Ottawa, that is a very impactful game for the one team. Hamilton, they're like 2 touchdown favorites. You would imagine that they roll, and that, of course, will basically set up Montreal's destiny of being the number 2 team and hosting likely the Bombers next week.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, we had kind of 2 teams that were controlling their fate, right? That was the Hamilton Tiger Cats and the BC Lions. They're going to be treating this week like a playoff game because it's going to decide where they are in the standings. So you have Hamilton, who's playing and I think that, if you're gambling on that game, like, I don't know, 2 touchdowns feels in the wheelhouse of Hamilton, but you got to think there's some pride on Ottawa as well, even though they're going to have, a lot of their starters sitting as well. I see Hamilton, cakewalking to that one, like we've seen a lot. A lot of teams beat Ottawa this year. I'm not going to say it's going to be incredibly easy, but they should get the job done nonetheless. And then you look at BC, right? The difference between, if I'm correct here, I believe I am, is they play in Mosaic Stadium. No, it's not in BC Place. So that's going to be a bigger challenge going into Saskatchewan and playing, right? Just the fact that you have to play against the road crowd. And there's the other thing to it, Huss, like, this is the crazy football league for a reason. I'm not saying there's a massive precedent of teams needing to win games in the final regular season week, only to fall short to a team that is rested a bunch of starters. But there's a lot of pride at play for some of the guys who haven't got opportunity, right? A lot this week is for whether you're in first place in the division or last place in the division. Week 21 is often an opportunity to get some of those guys who have been busting their ass all year to get into a game, right? And you really do see, some valiant efforts from guys, right? Guys who want to show that they belong, want to show that they've learned a lot over the season and want to put that into action on the field. So don't rule out a team necessarily because they're sitting guys, but it's obvious that if you're, your biggest playmakers, the guys who you rely on week in and week out, if they're not in your lineup, it's going to be a tough go. But I do think BC, I think the 7 points is an interesting one for the Lions. And we'll see what the Riders can do, because like you said, I think you're going to have to play, Trevor Harris for a bit. AJ Ouellette maybe less so because of, his ability to get banged up, but you want to get receivers in there. To your point, they sat guys out last week. It will be a long time if they sit guys out again this week. And just knowing some of the coaches' mentalities, some of the success that teams have had who finish divisions, they do exactly what the Riders did. They sit out their players in week 20 and they play some of their starters in week 21. Of course, anyone, again, who's having those bumps and bruises or issues right now that could get worse simply through one hit, those guys will sit out. But you want to find that rhythm. You want that consistency. It's the rust first rest argument, and it's an argument that will continue to rage on until we find some kind of science huss that can put bodies back together week in and week out.
That's why they play the games, folks. You never know what's going to happen. Hey, before we wrap, listen, it's been a very up and down year for the Bombers on the field. But my God, what an accomplishment for the organization, for the city, for the fan base. 14 straight sellouts and a sold out season. Something that was legitimately inconceivable even a few years ago, never mind when Wade Miller took over. I heard Joe Pascucci saying that he thinks that Wade Miller should potentially be inducted into the Hall of Fame as a builder for what he's done here in Winnipeg. Obviously had an incredible career as a special teams demon and a player for those years, but just thoughts on just how far this organization has come. And it does make the performance of the team maybe a little disappointing considering it's hosting the Grey Cup and everything the fans have done. But clearly the standard in the Canadian Football League for an operation right now is right here in the Peg.
Yeah, it's a testament to a lot of things, Hassan. I'm going to start with the fans, right? The fans are the ones that fill the stadium. They're the ones that show up. They're the ones that are loud. They're the ones that have created moments, have created many special moments over the years. Some things that pop out, of course, Milt Stiegel's return to the CFL on TSN panel, right? It's just been an exciting environment for such a long time. And to have this accomplishment of selling every single game out in the regular season, when you look at the league, when you look at how gate-driven the league is, how many times have you read that the CFL is a gate-driven league? I know I've written it a ton of times. So a ton of credit to the fans, a ton of credit to understanding the value of a home field advantage, and doing that to the full force of your appreciation for this football club. And the rest of them go down the line. This is a testament to the players, to bringing it on the field, to creating a product that allows, I've said this a lot, this fan base is fat. They're spoiled, right? They've enjoyed a lot of success. They went from the league losers to the league winners, right? And I think that's really what's been a massive piece of this attendance and all the success the team has had is the ability to not only get to Grey Cups, win them, but do it consistently. And any team that can go to 5 straight Grey Cups, Huss, is probably going to sell a heck of a lot of tickets. And of course, you mentioned the management. You want to speak in? Because I
just want to say, on the players, just before you get to the management, the one other thing I'll say about players is the way that they embrace being Bombers. And it's one thing to go out and do what they do in the field. Well, they're paid to do that. That's part of the job, and everyone wants to perform at a high level, and they've done that. But the way that they embrace it, like, they don't advertise the players coming out after the game, but when the kids go down on the field and stuff, like, usually half the team is out there doing things, especially after wins. The stuff in the community, the way they have bought into, in some ways, I guess, the responsibility of helping further that connection. It goes back a number of years, but the buy-in from the players of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers is really admirable, and the performance is kind of where it starts, but that should not be forgotten because it's really neat to see what they do, and this is not just during the season, often outside of the season as well.
Yeah, and I'm so happy you said that. I think I was moving past that kind of stuff just because I didn't want to be long-winded again in my response, but it really is true, right? I mean, they do it right here. They're a likable team. We talk a lot about continuity and being important when it comes to the wins and losses and understanding what it takes on the field and the leadership group and core, but that continuity, to your point, has paid off in the community, right? Everyone knows these guys. They can fans have bought jerseys and have had them for multiple years. Not a lot of teams can say that. They have a group of players that live here year round now. It's kind of a throwback to like the 80s, 90s CFL, when players used to be, some in cases were teachers, right? Like back when you kind of like, your Canadians lived in your hometown. Now it's Americans, Canadians. They built such a culture here. And that is a testament to the leadership, to Mike O'Shea, what he's brought to the table here, and Wade Miller, to your point about the game day experience. And, I don't disagree with that being the builder, because Wade has, put his soul into this organization. He's put his life into it, right? He's a businessman, and he's decided to put a lot of his own personal time and energy. I mean, he gets compensated for it. It's not volunteer work, but it's a passion nonetheless. And we've seen what he's done with this organization. It'll be really interesting to see what he does with this organization moving forward. And I think, when you looked at some of the bigger news in the CFL, particularly around the rule changes, that was my number one question to Wade Miller, was like, this seems like a raw deal for you guys, right? If everybody could do what you guys have been doing in all markets, I don't think we'd be talking about changing the game necessarily. But that also has to do, obviously, with other factors as well. But certainly this achievement, I read in Taylor Allen's story in the Free Press about how this was a goal from Wade when he got here in 2013. And I don't know if I read it correctly, if he had predicted 2025. I'm going to call a little baloney on that, maybe on the exact date. But if that's true, that's amazing as well. But obviously a lot of hard work and a lot of dedication goes into this. And we talk about the management, the players, the fans. All those other people, man, all those other people in the building, all those people who work and sell tickets and who volunteer and who work the, Bomber store and all those things, like it's all part of the culture. And so it really is a testament to everybody top down. And it really is in its true sense when it comes to selling out the games here in Winnipeg.
Hey, Hammer, just quickly on the way out, our guy T. Konopali's popping in chat, and some people are talking about it. You heard anything on Taylor Elgersma and what's next for him and a potential future here in Winnipeg?
Yeah, we talk about the Bombers. Like, you're not basing this off any news. Like, I didn't miss any news over the last.
People are asking what's up.
Yeah, no. You talk to the Bombers. They're all the same thing. I think Mike even addressed this on the coaches show a couple of weeks back on CJOB, and I know I've had these conversations, right? Clearly his camp. There's not a lot of conversation between him and the bar, at least not like Mike O'Shea and him. I think they're really letting him explore this opportunity. He's obviously a young guy. He got a really cool chance with the Green Bay Packers and got into some exhibition or preseason games and showed up a little bit. And now he's doing what most people would do in this situation, try to figure out if there's another opportunity there. We can talk about whether or not we think he will get another opportunity. A lot of people believe his best place would be in Winnipeg right now to learn under like a Zach Collaros and take over that position, maybe in a year or two or whatever. But how can you blame a guy for wanting to be out there, especially after the experience he's had in recent months? So the answer is it's been shelved. The Bombers aren't expecting him anytime soon. However, these things can change, right? The longer you wait, the less patient you get. And that could lead to signing a deal and coming here. So I'm not ruling him out, but talk to the Bombers today, and it's not right around the corner.
Yeah, and listen, they're focused on this game tomorrow, the playoffs, but that will be an off-season topic, I'd suggest, shortly after the Grey Cup wraps up here, regardless of who is playing in it. Congrats again. Fun stuff as always. And I'll look forward to talking to you next week. Playoff preview for CFL 110, regular season in the books, and we get ready for the East and West semi. Have an awesome weekend, dude.
Yeah, right on, my friend. One last thing about the games. I was in on the bounty for Remo, but I didn't have the best hand. So that would have been a 3-0 on Remo for taking his bounty, and I took a big chunk out of you in that game. I pretty much.
Yeah. Well, listen, I had you covered. I thought I was going to get you, and then I didn't, and that's just the way that it went. Revenge will be mine at some point.
And was it a 69 hopefully. Full house I had on you? I think it was even sweeter. So
it was insult to injury. Insult to injury. Have a good one, pal. There's Jeff Hamilton, Winnipeg Free Press. Of course, Taylor Allen is going to be covering the game tomorrow for the Freep. Again, Princess Auto tomorrow, Princess Auto Stadium tomorrow, 2 p.m. final regular season game, another sellout. Congratulations, Bomber fans. And of course, our friends at Princess Auto, proud sponsors of the Bombers and WST, headquartered and founded right here in Winnipeg and now coast to coast, but with 3 Manitoba locations to serve you, where you'll find the best deals on the most unique assortment of tools and equipment around. Everything you need to complete the projects on your list or start something new is at Princess Auto. Pop by and see them in store or shop online 24/7, 365 over at princessauto.com. I will have the Chuds Power Sports Power Poll a little bit later on for Manitoba's Power Sports Superstore for over 80 years up in Gimli. Shout out to the Derminator and the gang. I know they'll be ready for the marble race a little later on. But if you want to get ready for snowmobile season right now, they've got some amazing deals in October before the snow flies on Polaris and Arctic Cat sleds. What you might not know is that they are the parts superstore as well. If you're trying to get that sled ready for the upcoming year and you need a part or two, they've got the most extensive parts availability in the province and can help you with that as well. And obviously have an incredible staff that's been there like about 140 years total experience together to make sure you're getting the right part or the right purchase for what you're looking to do this winter. Pop down and see them, Gimli, the corner of Highway 8 and 231, online, chudspowersports.com. Check out everything that they've got going on there. And as we get into the weekend, of course, the Jets are hopefully going to have a little bit more of a boost tonight than they had last night. Manitoba Battery's been giving boosts to Winnipeggers and Manitobans as the local leader for all things batteries with the best prices in town, period. Beating the pants off the big box stores and the best in customer service as well. Pop by and see them at one of their 2 Winnipeg locations, Logan Avenue or Dovercourt Drive. Free battery testing and the best deals on batteries if you need a new one for your car or truck to get through the Manitoba winter. Visit them online at manitobabattery.com and order there. Give them a call. They do deliver citywide inside the perimeter for all your battery needs. All right, let's welcome in Murat Ates in between these 2 games. Seattle last night, Calgary tonight. Murat, you can read all of his work at theathletic.com. What's going on? How are you?
Hey, Huss. I'm doing well. I'm feeling grateful to be here talking some hockey with you. I want to say a quick shout out to Remo as well. My next story is going to come out tomorrow morning. And yesterday I was just kicking at it and couldn't kind of clear the block in my head to just get things out about it. And I was actually shooting the breeze with Remo last night at the game, and I think that kickstarted it. So we can give him a shout out for his help on my next piece coming out tomorrow.
Yes, as I know, probably better than any, a man of many takes, a man of much information. So you can look forward to that in it. Just listen, we didn't spend too much time talking about last night's game. It was probably one of the more forgettable ones we'll see this year. But what were your takeaways from it? Was this a Jets team that wasn't ready to go? Was this just a Seattle team that went in and sort of played almost Jet-style hockey, not giving up very much, and a good goaltending battle? How did you see it?
Yeah, the first striking thing for me was just how well Seattle packed the house. Like their shape and their structure was immediately obvious. I think I was commenting on it by about 7 minutes into the game, where they have good details in their defensive structure. It definitely protects the middle of the ice. You can see 5 guys compressing there, and it leaves space on the outside. And so that's good. Credit to them. And then second period, I thought, geez, like the Jets, Scheifele and Connor made seam passes to each other back and forth in the offensive zone like 3 or 4 times in a row. And it looked like maybe they were cooking, but that ended up being a part of the game the Jets regretted. They thought they really got caught up in trying to be a bit too cute. In the end, my takeaway was this. I sat there watching that game and I thought last year's Jets would get through the neutral zone way better. I thought last year's Jets would have spent multiple successive offensive zone time shifts in Seattle's end. And then when Scott Arniel came out and said, well, hey, that was one of our better games offensive zone time wise, and we actually were happier with that than some of our earlier games, I thought, okay, I've got to check myself because I'm holding this team to that team's standards, and I don't think they've met it yet at 5-on-5.
No, I think that, listen, we kind of went into yesterday's game and we looked at I mean, they've made the most of scoring opportunities, but how sustainable that is, I guess we'll see. I mean, the goals above expected were far and away number one in the league. And they'd had excellent special teams. I mean, elite penalty killing, which was top in the league. You had a top 3 or 4 power play as well. And that helps you win games. But at 5-on-5, the bread and butter, it's still seemingly a work in progress. I will say this, though. I absolutely loved the work of Morgan Barron last night. I mean, he's standing out more and more. And in a game like that where the team is down 1-0, late in the third period, I thought Scott Arniel made a pretty significant statement saying, you guys get out there. That fourth line, you won't see a lot of coaches down 1-0 throwing their fourth line out with 2 or 3 minutes left in the game. But they absolutely earned it last night. And Barron in particular seemed to be dangerous every time he was on the ice.
Yeah, I sort of wonder sometimes, well, who's going to make that next play that breaks down a defense, that creates a bit of time and space and separation, the sort of thing that just takes structure like we were just praising and gives Winnipeg the advantage over it. And you can count on Kyle Connor and Mark Scheifele to do things in that regard, though Winnipeg can't count on them to score every single game. You need someone else. And Morgan Barron was showing that he could do that he has physical attributes where he can get to the middle. He got a nice deflection for a scoring chance in one case. He was asserting himself physically. And for a guy that, as of 2 days ago was day-to-day, missed practice, to come back and whatever he's battling through, have perhaps the Jets' highest battle level up front. I mean, that really speaks well of him and the great start that he's had. When Winnipeg gets healthy and Scott Arniel has some real tough decisions to make, one of the tough decisions is how many minutes is that guy going to get?
Yeah, well, and you know what? It's kind of a neat little segue into, before you just talk about tonight's game, your latest at The Athletic, projecting Winnipeg's optimal lineup when Adam Lowry and Cole Perfetti and Dylan Sandberg return. Just one more thing on last night's game as well. We're talking about this. Can you imagine if Logan Stanley had scored on that dangle that he made? Like that, honestly, I think that would have changed everything for the night. I mean, it was a little bit of a quiet crowd waiting for something to happen. I mean, that to me was the most incredible moment of the entire game, even though it didn't end up in a goal. I did not know he had that club in his bag, I'll be honest.
Yeah, Logan, we were not aware. Forgive us. I mean, what a move. I don't do a lot of texting or messaging during games. I throw the headphones on. I'm a little bit boring. I just zoom in as much as I can. And my phone blew up at that moment. Absolutely blew up. Like, did you see that? And yes, I did see that. It was a really great deke. It really was. And he got a shot off that he would have liked other than scoring. Could have been a game changer, definitely, if he had gone to 3 goals on the season, tripling his career high.
In that fashion? Are you
in that
kidding
way,
me?
Come on. He's on a heater. He is playing with confidence. That's clear. And good on him.
I don't know if Nick Lyman is with us in the chat. What's up, Nick, if you are? I'm in my seat in row 1 at 316. Nick's in 313. And, we've often had conversations about Stanley. And the second that happened, I looked over to see what he was doing as well as everybody else. Because, I mean, if we thought the Stanley chant was loud on Saturday, it would have been next level. Anyways, a really nice play. It kind of stood out because there wasn't a lot else of that last night. But back to this piece in the Athletic. We've seen a lot of good things from a lot of players so far. As you said, the record is the record. We'd like to see some more 5-on-5. What do you think the biggest challenges are for the coaching staff when, let's just assume that one day all 3 guys walk into the dressing room, green lit, ready to go? What's that going to do to this Jet lineup, Murat?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to give Scott Arniel a headache in a good way, I think, because he's going to have decisions to make. Probably one of the first things that's going to happen is the younger guys are going to be sent down with Brad Lambert and Nikita Chibrikov, maybe even Parker Ford. Not sure, though. On his case, he could stay just to get them some minutes and in another key year for them. And like, I'm going down to California, poor me, to start November, where they're in LA and Anaheim and San Jose. And like, by the end of that, Perfetti and Adam Lowry could both be in the lineup, depending on how the recovery rate goes, which is wild. And I think that Scott Arniel's challenge is, if you just Scott Arniel's challenges this season are figuring out 5-on-5 excellence. And, those two players will help. I think Scott Arniel starts his lines by putting Connor and Scheifele together, and probably by putting Niederreiter and Lowry together as 2/3 of a shutdown line, and the rest goes in and around that. I think Gabriel Vilardi, despite not having scored yet, is first in line for that top line job. We've seen how consistent that usage has been. And while he's been snake bit in terms of scoring, and he had that empty net chance, I think, was it Oleksiak who got a stick on him? Certainly he sounded frustrated talking to reporters this morning. I still think that player can help there. And then you go throughout the rest of the lineup. What are the pairs that the Jets are going to lean on? I think Jonathan Toews and Cole Perfetti are going to be a pair that they lean on. If that's the case, then you got to decide, well, is Alex Iafallo the best fit there? Is it Gus Nyquist, who does some creative things every single game, but has been okay, I think, in terms of a top six forward? Could it even be Vladislav Nemesnikov, who could be anything from a second to a fourth line player? And what's Morgan Barron's job? All of these are tough questions because Winnipeg has a lot of players who can play anywhere from the second to fourth line, and depending on the chemistry, have effectiveness there.
The play of Barron this year has me thinking that he's not going anywhere. And are you with me? I mean, in all likelihood, when Adam Lowry's back and playing center, it's probably the utility knife Vlad Nemesnikov that'll be elsewhere as far as the center ice position.
I think so. And you can do it by face-off percentage too. He's really, really struggling in the dot. And so Nemesnikov historically has struggled in the dot too. I don't think those numbers are getting better. Maybe he ends up on the wing. Almost definitely he ends up on the wing. Maybe it's as low as the fourth line with Barron if the Jets are fully healthy. And that's a good problem to have. But then I was looking at it, and Cole Koepke, whose game I've really liked, and I like his speed, I like his physicality and his forechecking, could, like, on a healthy version of the Jets, sit for Tanner Pearson, who at times this season I thought, oh, geez, he's going to be too slow out there. But I've actually, the more we watch him in the regular season, the more I see some dimension to his game. So there's a lot of moving parts. The Jets, I'm sure, would love being able to trade 3 of these really quality bottom 6 players for another impact player at the top of the lineup, but that's not how the game works. So ideally, what they do is they give themselves options so that by playoff time, if they need a B look or a C look, they have one and it works and it's demonstrated success for them.
Murat, this is a conversation I was having with a few friends last night in between periods, looking ahead to a full complement of players, whether that ever happens. I mean, obviously you got to get lucky, you get these guys back, not lose anybody in the meantime. But, assuming the availability of everybody with the team, if the Jets and Kevin Cheveldayoff were looking to make a move to make one ad, do you think that ad is up front or is it on the blue line?
Oh, that's a great question, because you want to find the spot where it's going to have the biggest impact. I think the biggest change that's going to happen is when Dylan Samberg comes back and you have a top 4 you can count on again. And so I guess here's what I would say. You wait and you watch and you see what Dylan DeMello is capable of this season. Because on paper, I think there's a lot of people who would love to add like a grittier, edgier version of DeMello, who is a little bit more of an automatic top pairing defenseman on every team in the league, and based on his attributes more so than his chemistry with a guy like Josh Morrissey. But DeMello's had some great seasons with Josh Morrissey. And early on this year, it looks like a bounce back for him. Last year, at this time, he was struggling in open ice. He got beat a couple of times. There were some breakdowns that led to goals. And now think of that Nemesnikov to Niederreiter stretch pass. Well, who boxes a guy out, wins a battle, makes a nice clean pass to kick that off? That's Dylan DeMello back at his best. And so for me, if he's having that really positive impact, then you look up front and you want a top 6 forward with talent and with grit. I was thinking of Mason Marchment from the Kraken last night as an example of a guy who could fit into the top 6 and that physicality. And if DeMello just doesn't have that club in his bag at this step, or if you think you can upgrade physically, then that's almost inevitable, whether it's this season or a couple seasons from now. Winnipeg does need help on the right side.
Yeah, I'm like, we were talking, I was actually on in Calgary with Pat Steinberg earlier this week, and he came on our show as well. And, we were talking about the Flames situation, and obviously it's pretty dire right now. They haven't been winning games. Like last year, they sort of seemingly overachieved and they stayed in it right until the end. This season starting the exact opposite, and it might sort of force Craig Conroy's hand. And of course, we got into talking about Rasmus Andersson, and it doesn't sound like he is a guy that's looking to extend anywhere. The LA Kings had a nice offer, but he didn't want to extend. He's going to go to free agency by all accounts. So it would be a rental. But when I think of a perfect player to come in, playing alongside Josh Morrissey, come playoff time, that's a guy that would be, listen, it would come at a cost, and, a cost for basically this season and this season alone. But if you really want to put your best foot forward and take the best run at the cup, that's the sort of a player that I think a Cheveldayoff and a Scott Arniel would absolutely love to have if the price was right.
Yeah, Chris Johnston put Rasmus Andersson, I think, at the absolute top of his trade board at The Athletic this week. I don't know if you can believe there's already trade boards out there, but the idea is that some of the trade market is known to the insider folk at this point. And Andersson makes sense because of the physicality, because of the sorts of minutes that he's played for Calgary. You'd really want your pro scouts to believe that he could have that top four impact playing on more of a contending team than the Calgary Flames have been. You should probably not let me daydream about Mackenzie Weegar, because I think that's a perfect player type and maybe more dear to Calgary than they'd ever really part with. But if you're a Winnipeg Jets fan and you're looking around the standings, you could do yourself favors by hoping that Calgary continues to struggle and guys become available.
Well, and just the difference between those two, while I pull up Puckpedia, certainly is the contract. While Andersson is due to become a free agent, Weegar is locked up long-term at 6.25, which, with the way the cap is going, very manageable for right shot defenseman that, is 31 years old. Basically, there's a lot of veteran players. He kind of fits in that window of the Winnipeg Jets too. But you do wonder, with that much term left on his contract, what that sort of cost would be to the Calgary Flames. Speaking of the Calgary Flames, thoughts on the challenge for the Jets tonight, coming right back at it, wash and repeat, looking for more of a result like Monday night as opposed to last night where they couldn't get one.
Yeah, they'll be a little bit fatigued, I guess, second night back to back, and probably by Sunday that'll really show itself in terms of 3 games in 4 nights. So the keys will probably be to keep things simple. You heard Kyle Connor talk last night about, hey, we liked a lot of what we did, but when we got carried away by getting a little fancy through the neutral zone, by trying those seam passes over and over again, we got those picked off, puck went the other way. And I think that if Winnipeg plays a simple game and doesn't feed into those turnovers and doesn't create some of Calgary's offense for it, the Jets are a good team, and they should be able to, by having good habits and not by getting away from them, they should be able to beat Calgary again. So I guess the key would be to simplify and then just to keep at it until they have offensive success, because they got chances. But as positive as the post-game talk was last night, I'm like, you know what? There are Jets teams that we've watched recently that would have gotten even more chances than they got against Seattle last night, and I'd like to see that from them against Calgary.
Sunday's going to be an interesting one with the Utah Mammoth coming in. Now, of course, last year it was Utah HC. Now they have got a name. Now they've got a logo. And now they got some momentum. A big win last night in St. Louis, putting up 7. And this is a big road trip for that club, Murat, as they roll through the Central Division. They had an OT win over the Avalanche. They had a regulation win in St. Louis. And while the Jets are playing their back-to-back of this 3 and 4 tonight, they'll be off tomorrow. The Mammoth are going to be in Minnesota tomorrow, and then doing the travel and firing it up for that 5 p.m. start. I'm very intrigued to see the matchup between these two teams because, of course, we know where the Jets are starting at. Well, right now, the Mammoth, are right there in the mix there at 6 and 2. And they've kind of had a few pretty nice statements to the rest of the division so far early in the season.
Yeah, there's so many things to like about them in terms of how young they are, how fast they are, how some of that top-end talent is coming together. You could talk about the young guys, but even the medium young guys, like the Clayton Kellers of the world, the Dylan Gunthers having a breakout season. You can wait for Logan Cooley and the whole next group of Utah Mammoth. It doesn't roll off my tongue quite yet.
Me neither. I keep calling them the Grizzlies, going back to my IHL days.
Classic, eh? Yeah, absolutely. The Mammoth for me are an exciting team. I think that, I don't know if I expect them to hold up. They're ahead of Winnipeg right now. I don't know if I expect that to last all season. Second half could be tougher for a group like that, but I do expect them to be a handful, and I do expect them to be fast. And one thing where Winnipeg has struggled as the NHL's oldest team is in pure speed so far, and that could be a tricky matchup early on this season.
I'm just pulling up the Mammoth right now, and they're on a 5-game winning streak right now, with wins at home versus Calgary, home versus the Sharks, home versus the Bruins, and then that OT win over the Avalanche. So they're certainly taking care of business in Utah, and now started off this road trip in the Central Division with the win in St. Louis last night, Minnesota tomorrow. Have you seen much of the Wild this year?
Have I seen much of the Wild? No, I watched a little bit for, I did a piece at The Athletic about 7 veterans on track to have a bounce back season. And Vladimir Tarasenko is on that list. He plays top power play minutes for the Wild. He's been a bit of a black hole at even strength, to be clear, but by passing it to Kaprizov and Boldy at the right times, he's picked up a bunch of power play points. That's not really an overall look at the Wild, but that's what I've seen so far, is that without Zuccarello, Tarasenko's on that top power play unit, and it's still the Kaprizov and Boldy show, though.
Yeah, you know what? I to be honest, I was watching the I think they were playing, was it Monday or Tuesday in New Jersey? And, it was my first chance in game action to see that Zeev Boyum, who, I mean, this guy has incredible skating ability and offensive ability, but like a lot of young defensemen, is having a tough time just getting used to what you're getting thrown at you playing significant minutes right now in the National Hockey League. He's fun. A couple of great young defensemen, too. I mean, obviously, Lane Hudson had that breakout season last year and won the Calder. Boyum was the guy that I think a lot of people thought was going to be right there with the Calder. And then Matthew Schaefer shows up as an 18-year-old and absolutely steals the show. I mean, that kid is fun to watch. Not a lot of other great things happening in the island right now, but a very bright future with the #1 overall pick from last summer's draft.
Yeah, I could go all day about just watching that guy skate. Like, he's doing Makar-esque things at 18 years old from the other side, and it's just incredible. You see clips go around the way he's accelerating by NHL veterans, the way he can turn on them, the confidence that he's playing at just to wheel. Like, I would love to hear the conversations that he's having with his head coach, and that's Patrick Waugh, isn't it? Like, in terms of what confidence they're showing in him, the amount of mistakes that they're willing to accept. And he's not making a ton of those either, but just in the name of getting him going. And he just wheels and goes, and guys can't handle him already. That is an impressive young player. You mentioned Boyum, and I think at that 2024 draft, man, there was a lot of buzz about that player as he was dropping, and I think Minnesota picking him at 12. If he hadn't been available, I don't know what direction the Wild would have went. They might have even traded that pick. They were so happy, I think, to get him, from what I understand. It's cool to see these young players break in. And Schaefer just blowing my mind. I think he could really have an incredible career if this is any indication.
Well, I mean, he's 7 games into his career as an 18-year-old, and he's a point-a-game player right now. And his ice time is #1 on the team. I'm just looking at this right now. He's playing, and this is overall. He had a couple of shorter games before they realized he was better than everybody else and started playing 26 minutes a night. He's 22-30 a game, Murat. There's only 2 other players, Bo Horvat and Matt Barzal, that are over 20 minutes a game. So he's they're not easing him in. It's you got a green light, kid, and go for it. Really looking forward to this weekend. Hopefully you can get back in the win column tonight, and then that Sunday game will be really interesting when the Utah Mammoth are here right now. Do you want to tease your piece tomorrow that you mentioned earlier on today?
Well, let's see what I can say. I'm a bad salesperson. I see a lot of journalists do a lot better jobs of teasing and all of this sort of stuff. but like, don't you think that it would be nice if at next season's outdoor game, which will happen in Winnipeg, Mark Scheifele passed Dale Hawerchuk for the franchise, and I'm picking my words carefully, franchise record in points. Not the all-time Winnipeg record, not the 1.0, we're looking at it in a certain way record, but the Winnipeg Jets franchise record. Don't you think it would be nice? Wouldn't it be nice in Storybook?
You're preaching to the choir. I can't wait. We need more ink spilt on that topic, and hopefully that does happen soon. We'll look forward to it tomorrow in The Athletic. Murat, you have a fantastic weekend. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me, Huss.
There's Murat Ates, and yes, that piece, and a really interesting one right now, looking ahead to the return of Cole Perfetti and Dylan Sandberg and Adam Lowry, up right now at theathletic.com. All right, we should get to right now our Jets lines for tonight's game, brought to you by our friends at Clean Line. Of course, Clean Line, a wonderful local business growing over the years, the leaders now in residential and commercial plumbing, along with heating and electrical, and the official plumbing service of the Winnipeg Jets. Proud sponsor of the Jets. Saw them all over the Jumbotron and the Power Rings last night, always supporting the home team, and they're there to support you. 24-hour emergency service available. You don't want to have to call them, but when you need them, Clean Line is there for you. And of course, on the commercial side of things, continuing to help our city grow with new projects by the week. Our Jets lines are presented by Clean Line, official plumbing service of the Jets. And as you see with Big Adam Lowry, they are captain approved. These lines look like this, folks. Connor Scheifele Vilardi, Niederreiter, Taves, and Nyquist, Alex Iafralo, Vlad Nemestikov, along with Brad Lambert, Koepke, Barron, and Pearson, Morrissey and DeMello, Stanley Pionk, Fleury, Shen. No expected changes tonight as of right now. Of course, Clean Line lines, we'll put them out on socials each and every game, and appreciate their wonderful support of WST. Folks, if you're not at the game tonight, best place to be is your local Boston Pizza. The Boston Pizza Lounges are going to be bananas tonight and tomorrow night for game 1 and 2 of the World Series. And of course, they'll also have the Jets game on. I don't know how they're going to work that. Pick a player contest for the Jets, contests and great prizes for the Blue Jays. And of course, the new flight menu with the pizza flights are back, the wing flights, but now they've got chicken bite flights and fry flights. Perfect for the gang to share while watching the big game. And you can enter for a chance to win BP's grand prize trip for the Flight Club to Cali to see the Jets play the Ducks on February 27th, including flights, hotel, and amazing game tickets. Our pal Greg fired us a shot from Royal Sports just a little while ago, and they got more Jays gear coming in. Now, these World Series hats showed up today. Remo, I don't know if you have the picture of them. They are absolutely sweet. There they are, right there. World Series, Blue Jays. I think he said that they just got 24 of them, and they'll be gone today. So if you want one of these and you're listening to us right now live on YouTube, I would suggest you get down there ASAP. If you're listening on the podcast later on, might want to call to see whether they're still available. But they've got a lot more than just that. Tons of new Blue Jays jerseys. I'm looking at a video here. New jerseys come out. Oh my God, they got a Savage t-shirt as well. That'll be a hot seller. So if you want to get geared up for the Blue Jays and the World Series, get down to Royal Sports today. ASAP, 750 Pembina Highway. And of course, check them out on Instagram at Royal Sports Winnipeg for the latest merchandise drops and sale information. Hacksaw is going to join us in just a couple minutes. We will get to some comments from Scott Arneal and Gabriel Vilardi as well. But let's give a big cheers to our friends over at Little Brown Jug.
You train day in and day out. learning new techniques, approaching new concepts, and living out the thrill of achieving your goals. Building a craft beer is no different. While you spend your hours on the ice, we spend ours here, brewing our trademark beer. Again, and again. Here's to pushing the status quo and challenging ourselves to build something memorable. 1919 by Little Brown Jug.
All right, good stuff. Just a quick note on the clean line lines. Really are just going with what we saw yesterday. There is the potential that things could change. There was no skate this morning. A couple players did media. The coach was out there. We do expect Eric Comrie to be in net tonight. Any more info on that, Remo, as we've done the show?
Yeah, they asked Arniel if he could reveal his lineup, and he just told them no. Like, he stopped Mike mid-question. It was kind of funny. But yeah, Eric Comrie. So, I think they'll see Lambert, but wouldn't shock me if they put Parker forward or Chibrikov back in, because it's a back-to-back. So we'll stay tuned for warm-up. But yeah, they didn't skate, and Scott Arniel holding the cards close to his chest.
Well, you know what? And listen, every one of these games is somewhat of a competition. If you can, just fire up clip 8 here for a minute. This is Scott Arniel, on the competition, if you will, between the 3 young players that are on the roster right now. Chibrikov, who played the first 3 games, Parker Ford, who played the next 2, Brad Lambert, who's played the last 2. Here's what he had to say about the competition right now in the lineup between the new Jets.
You know what? Obviously, with our injuries, we're fortunate to be able to use those guys. We're trying to get them to learn on the fly. I don't want to drop them in here in February or March, and all of a sudden, then it's like, wow, what just hit me type thing. And I thought they've all, done well. They've, I look at more than just are they scoring goals, or they're all, doing little things, and it's whether that's wall play in our end of the rink, how they're defending. Forecheck, different things like that. So that's all been good. They've all done a real good job at it.
All right, there's Coach Arniel. Now, we promised you the Vilardi clip today. Here is Gabe, who spoke this morning, who was still looking to light the lamp and obviously missed a glorious opportunity at the end of, I believe, the first period last night. Here's Gabriel Vilardi on dealing with a bit of a slow start offensively.
Well, it is very frustrating. You're not going to lie and say that it's not. I think at the end of the day, though, there's flows to the season, obviously, and there's you go through your streaks where it seems like everything's going in, and then you go through the streaks like this one where it seems like nothing's going in. You can't catch a break, whether it's a stick lift or it's the goalie's making a crazy save. You just kind of remind yourself of the flows within the season.
All right, and here's one more from Gabe. Just thoughts on the line with Mark Scheifele and Kyle Connor, who have had hot starts.
I don't know. I think we're getting chances. I don't know. What do you see?
I see a lot of good.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think we're getting chances. I think if I could score, those guys would have 20 points apiece. I think right now if I could score. So it has been frustrating, but at the end of the day, when you are getting chances, it's tough to be overly, critical and concerned.
That was classic Vilardi. Ken asked him a question, and he says, well, I don't know. What do you think? And Ken came back with his answer. I got a kick out of it. Hopefully Gabe can snap that slump and get hot. Right now, they could certainly use a few. The Calgary Flames are a team that could use a few goals. They're on pace to score the least amount of goals in NHL history. Now, obviously, that's not going to probably continue for the entire season, but it certainly has been tough. Reem, just before we go to Hacksaw, pull up that lines graphic again if you can. Again, these are the lines that are expected. Well, were from last night. Scott Arniel was very close to the guard about any sort of changes tonight. So we'll see whether Brad Lambert goes in back-to-back. I wouldn't be surprised if Parker Ford potentially came back. I really liked his game. But as it was last night is where we have it tonight. And obviously Eric Comrie on the second end of the back-to-back expected to get the start tonight. And he's had a really good start to the season when he's been in the net. As I said, the clean line, projected lines for the Winnipeg Jets. Cleanline.ca, the official plumbing service of your Winnipeg Jets. All right. Normally we spend most of our time with Hacksaw talking football, but I have a feeling that there's a certain ball game tonight north of the border that's going to take precedence. Let's welcome in the man, the myth, the legend. Lee Hacksaw, Hamilton.com is where you'll find him. Saw, this country is counting down the minutes to first pitch tonight. This is going to be a lot of fun. South of the border, is this viewed as a bit of a David Goliath situation?
Hustler, it is kind of old Canada versus the evil empire. It's really interesting. I'm getting
Remo, can you just fix that that echo? It's good now, Hacksaw. Sorry about that.
So anyhow, this is the evil empire versus old Canada. Across America, nobody likes the Dodgers because of their payroll. It was just confirmed this morning. The total Dodger payroll plus the luxury tax they'll have to pay in November is $503 million. I think the Blue Jay payroll is $229. So yeah, I guess in a sense it is David versus Goliath. But at the end of the day, these guys earned it. It's going to be fascinating. This is not a walkover by any stretch of the imagination. You know, my left hand says the Dodgers have this gold standard starting pitching rotation that had a 1.40 ERA in postseason and choked the Milwaukee Brewers to death. So my left hand says Dodgers are just dominant on the mound. But I look at the Blue Jays, they had 296 in the postseason. Think about that. 20 home runs. Think about that. They don't strike out a lot. Think about that. I think the Jays have steady starting pitching. A little bit concerned about the overworking of the back two guys in the bullpen. I don't know how you can call on Barlin to pitch every day, and Hoffman runs up a big pitch count when he's in there. So I think there's a little bit of concern about the back end of the pitching staff with Tirado. And the Dodgers, even though they do have this star-studded everyday batting order, they've not hit. The guys that are carrying the Dodgers are the utility guys. Hernandez, et cetera, hitting 306. I'm still waiting for Ohtani and Freddie Freeman and Max Muncy to get some swings and get some hits. I think it's going to be a great series. I don't know who the hell's going to watch it in the States because everybody's so angry at the Dodgers. And the Dodgers NLCS TV ratings were terrible in America, phenomenal in Japan because of Ohtani and Roki Sasaki. Obviously, the world stopped in Canada. Nobody's going to work. I don't think anybody's paying attention to hockey because they're all watching the Jays. The TV ratings north of the border, Hustler, have been absolutely phenomenal, like 8 million in the ninth inning of that Blue Jays seventh and deciding game. So I think it's a cool series. The playoffs have been great. The Dodgers have become public enemy number one. So yeah, Canada versus the evil empire.
Yeah, I never actually caught it, but I did have a take. I wouldn't have been surprised if for Game 7 of the ALCS that there were more Canadians watching than Americans. I mean, there is that many people dialed in to this tilt tonight, and I mean, what a wild story this Trey Savage is. I mean, went through every level of baseball this year. Now, I mean, he'll be a rookie next year in the majors. And he's pitching tonight in Game 1 of the World Series against this Galactic All-Star team. And we've got some news as well. I'm just seeing the lineup is out tonight for the Jays. George Springer is going to lead off, and he is DHing. Davis Schneider's in second. You've got Vladdy at 3, and Bo Bichette is back in the lineup tonight. He will start at second base. They'll leave Jimenez at second with his defense. Kirk Varsho, Ernie Clement, Miles Straw in right field, and Savage there. But just a quick thought on the historic nature of this just incredible run of Trey Savage to a Game 1 start in the Fall Classic.
I think it's absolutely stunning that somebody would go through each of the levels of minor league baseball and then get here in September, be given the ball, and not freak out. That's the most amazing thing. Now, that being said, this is Ohtani, this is Freeman, this is Mookie Betts. This is really a star-studded Dodger batting order. So we'll just see how the kid holds up to this pressure. But the fact the game is at Skydome Rogers Place, that's kind of cool. If this sucker had been in Dodger Stadium, I'd say nerves would really be part of it. So we'll just let them play. It's going to be fun. And, we're having a lot of fun watching what Ohtani has done I mean, Hustler, I watch a lot of events like you do. I hardly ever come out of my chair. But that final game, Dodgers-Milwaukee, when Ohtani struck out the side in the top of the first, led off the bottom of the first with a one-swing home run, came back and hit the 469-foot bomb over the roof of the pavilion in right field.
That was so crazy, Lee.
It was Hollywood. It was a Hollywood script. I came out of my chair. I said, my God, I can't believe what I'm seeing. So tell you what, he is really a special player, and he's so much fun to watch because he has such joy playing the game. And one of the intangibles before we move on to the other topics on the table here, Hustler, it's the first time in these playoff series he's not facing a rotation loaded with left-handers because everybody on Toronto's side throws from the right hand. So that's going to be intrigued to see how that pitching staff stuff works against Ohtani, because Ohtani's been choked off with all the left-handers he's faced. Not going to face them starting tonight.
Well, we know that the Dodgers are a big favorite. I'm hoping for a great series, and I'm hoping when we're talking next Friday, we're talking about a Game 6 back in Toronto to give people a great series that goes the distance and isn't short. I have told many Jays fans, if you want to lean on a stat from history that might give you a little bit of confidence that Jays can make this happen, 4 times in Major League history, a team has gone the distance and won a championship series in 7 games and played a team that swept the other championship series, teams that went 7 or 4-0. So maybe they can catch the Dodgers a little rusty after a week off or so. I wouldn't count on it, but may the best team win. It's going to be a lot of fun. Lee, normally I'd just pivot. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll throw another intangible set of numbers. Please pay attention to this. And I don't cheerlead. But Blake Snell, 0.86 ERA. Yamamoto, 1.83. Glasnow, 0.68. Ohtani, 2.25. That's the big 4. And obviously the kid Sasaki, who is a converted starter, has only made 8 relief appearances in the major leagues at the most important times of the year. Got a 1.15 ERA. So Dodger pitching, gold standard, pal. But hey, let them play. Let's enjoy this.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Hacksaw, normally I just pivot over to the National Football League. There's a bunch of stories there, but I cannot have you on this program today with your great experience of covering so many aspects of stories in the world of sports and not get your reaction to the news yesterday of the FBI sting that is taking down Terry Rozier of the Miami Heat, NBA coach and Hall of Famer Chauncey Billups, with links to the mob and the 5 families. It is one of the more and more stuff that comes out. You wonder how the hell it took this long for something to pop on it, but just the significance of this and the fallout within the National Basketball Association. Hacksaw.
Hustler, you're right. They've got a legitimate problem. This problem is everywhere, though. I mean, we've seen this thing. There's an investigation going on into college basketball betting now here in the United States, and they've fingered 14 college basketball players, including leading scorers who may have been shaving points and betting. It's a monster issue. But the society has changed. Sports has changed. Some people would call it hypocrisy, that each of these franchises now are taking volumes of money in sponsorships from casinos and, DraftKings and all those betting syndicates. Our TV broadcasts are overwhelmed with, you can place a bet on this odd that this is going to happen in this game. The landscape has changed. I have a hard time understanding how Billups could be involved in this. His agent today, about within an hour, just put out a massive press release of total denial, saying this man's all about integrity. This man would not get involved in it. But the data is, I'll just give you an example of how this works. The rigged poker games in New York and Vegas that Billups reportedly took part in, there were 4 guys at the table. This is what information was given me. 4 guys at the table. Billups, 2 insiders, and the innocent guy, the rich man who showed up who wanted to play poker. Well, they rigged it electronically. Now, the question I have is, did Billups know that the other two guys were in-house men who were there to cheat the big money investor. The Billups incident involves $1.8 million in lost money that rich man lost to the table with Billups and the two cheats. So it remains to be seen whether Billups turned state's evidence. Did Billups have any knowledge of this? Hustler, he's such a man of integrity, such a leader, has been held in such high regard, was just inducted in the Hall of Fame. So I'm shocked. In terms of players do stupid things. So I could see Rozier dropping hints to his friends. I could see Damon Jones, who had a gambling addiction when he was a player in Cleveland, and it was in deep, deep debt and is filed for bankruptcy twice already. I could see him doing stupid things to help friends and get money. But I have a tough time believing Billups up.
The bigger question, Lee, did the NBA cover this up? Because, like, I was listening to Brian Windhorst yesterday, like Terry Rozier, this happened in March 2 years ago. And, you know, he was pulled, he was shelved for the rest of the year, and then he was cleared. There's a lot of questions as to how the NBA has handled this because, I mean, the fact that Kash Patel's rolling out this, the big press conference yesterday, detailing everything and taking these guys down, and people are going, wait a second, this guy was allowed back into the league for the last 2 years. Something doesn't jive.
Subpoena power. NBA does not have subpoena power. FBI, the federal government, does. And what they're doing is, if indeed these guys, and there may be other players that done stupid things like this, dropping hints or inside information just to get extra money. But what they're going to do is they're going to squeeze the pimple to get the pus to break. And these guys will turn state's evidence and then turn in mafiosos and the other people that are a bigger part of the ring. I understand stupid players doing stupid things. Not everybody's a Rhodes Scholar that plays pro sports, but I have a real tough time accepting that Billups was involved in this. So we'll see where this goes. But you're like, I mean, this was a broadside tidal wave of just negative news just hours after the NBA kicked off the season.
Hacksaw, quickly before we go, what are you looking for in the NFL this week?
Let's just talk real quickly. Key games. There are not a lot of marquee games on the schedule. I'm fascinated. Dallas, Denver. Dak Prescott's quarterback. Dallas, Dak's QB rating's 108. Got 16 touchdowns, 3 picks, and they're just heaving the ball down the field, and he's got everybody back healthy. Denver's got 34 sacks. Denver's defense is allowing quarterbacks to convert just 29% on third downs. This is going to be a great matchup. Dallas down the field versus Denver. Green Bay, Pittsburgh will be fun. I mean, they're trying to make it's a big reunion for Aaron Rodgers. If this thing was in Lambeau Field, I'd say, yeah, that would have a party atmosphere reunion, but it's in Pittsburgh. But Jordan Love is red hot. Pittsburgh's defense is like giving up 376 yards per game. Rodgers has got a pedestrian offense. I think Green Bay can probably win that game. The intriguing one to me, although you look at the standing and say, what the hell are you talking about, dummy? You got New England, which has won 4 in a row. And Vrabel's really got these guys cranking. And Drake May's got 12 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. He's got like a 106 rating. Drake May's going to go against a really vibrant pass rush that Cleveland's got. That's all that Cleveland's got. I'll be intrigued to see if that becomes a defensive struggle more than anything else. So those are the top 3 games I got on my schedule. And, of course, we saw the Chargers just absolutely destroyed Minnesota, which has totally fallen apart. And Kevin O'Connell's got a lot of injury problems. He's got a quarterback nightmare. I don't know if J.J. McCarthy is ready to play, but he may have to play. And I was a little bit bothered by the fact that Wentz was allowed to stay in there and kept taking hits. And you could obviously see how much pain he was in. I thought that O'Connell should have pulled Wentz from the game and just gone with the third quarterback rather than let Wentz take the kind of beating he took. So, and we got some other teams that are in big trouble. The Raiders are in massive trouble.
Oh, you like that one last week? Like that Chiefs Raider game? 30 first downs for the Chiefs, 30 offensive plays for the Raiders. I'm not sure that that's ever happened before in NFL history.
It was like 446 yards in offense to 94 yards in offense. And this whole thing's unraveled right in front of Pete Carroll's eyes. His defense can't play. He's got no offensive line right now. Geno Smith's become a turnover machine. So, there are people in trouble in the league. The Vikings because of the injuries. The Jets just utter incompetence on the offensive side of the football. I've never seen this, and I've been doing this a long time, as witnessed by gray hair. I've never seen a quarterback stay in the starting lineup. 1 week he throws for 45 yards. Next week he throws for 48 yards, and he's still the starting quarterback of the New York Jets. Justin Fields ought to be somebody's wide receiver or kick returner rather than my quarterback. And the one that's got real problems, and they've had a good season, but it might be about to end. Tampa Bay, Baker Mayfield has done some phenomenal things, but he's got to play this weekend without Mike Evans, without Ibuka, without Bucky Irving, without one of his tight ends, and without Chris Godwin. He didn't have any of his skill people around him in the lineup. So Tampa could be headed for kind of a rocky middle season swoon just because they got so many guys hurt.
Yeah, it is. I mean, listen, I think they're fortunate that they've got the Saints on the list. I was just looking for the latest injury report on this one. And I'll just pull up the Buccaneers and Mike Evans, he's done for the season. I did think Mbuka would be, he is listed as probable, and he did go, so I think they'll have him. He'll probably get a ton of action right now, and then it's like Cade Otton and Tez Johnson that's probably going to be the next up. Hey, quickly fill people in. I know it's going to be a few long nights for you talking about everything coming up on the website, starting off with Game 1 of the World Series tonight at LeeHacksawHamilton.com.
Well, I write about sports every day. It's on my website, first thing every morning, up there for the O Canada Network. Just punch it up, sample it. I think you'll really like it. LeeHacksawHamilton.com. I do 2 podcasts a week, not like you who are on every day. But if you like podcasts, and we package it very differently with graphics, etc., just go to YouTube, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton. Subscribe, because then you'll get the alerts every time we put something up. So it's busy time of the year, kind of an enjoyable time of the year.
So have a great one, pal. Should be great. We'll talk to you soon.
1919. Let's cheer one together. Talk about the Dodgers and the Jays. Kind of cool.
Yeah, well, hopefully we'll be cheersing a couple after the home team gets a big win tonight in game number 1. You have a good one, pal. There he is, Lee Hacksaw Hamilton, at Hacksaw 1090 on X as well. But get over to the website and give a sub on the thing. All right, we were going to have Pat on the program today, but Patty has just texted me, Remis. He's on the road right now because he somehow got a ticket to Game 1 of the World Series tonight. He and Jake are both going to be there. Jake, I guess, one of his buddies was in, and they ended up getting 6 seats up in the bleachers. So the fellas are going to be there. I would definitely suggest, if you're not already following, definitely the Coolbet channels, at Coolbet Canada, but as well as at Jake Bowen Moss and at P. Greggy. The fellas are going to be having a fun weekend, and you never know who's going to turn up in some of these videos that they're popping out in the World Series. 7 o'clock start tonight. We're going to get to the Coolbet lines in just a minute. I do want to get to our NFL Power Poll before the Coolbet lines. But first up, let me remind everyone as you get ready for marbles. You want to win. Everyone wants to win the marble race. You know what's one of the few things that might be better than winning the marble race? How about the HSC Millionaire Lottery, where someone is going to become Manitoba's next millionaire? The grand prizes for this event are truly breathtaking. Your choice of one of 5. $1.5 million dream home packages, 4 in the city of Winnipeg or outlying areas, 1 on Vancouver Island, or $1.25 million cash. That being said, there still is the massive early bird bonus. Get your tickets by next Thursday night at midnight, and you will be entered to win one of 2 prizes of either a BMW 25 i4 eDrive 35 full EV valued at $74K plus $26,000 in additional travel vouchers, or $85,000 cash. There'll also be 30 early bird winners of gas and groceries from Red River Co-op with a $500 gift card for your local Red River Co-op. Speaking of Red River Co-op, you can buy the tickets in person at your local Red River Co-op. You can also pick them up at London Drugs. But count yourself in support of Manitoba's hospital, the Health Sciences Center. Get your tickets before next Thursday's midnight deadline for those incredible early bird prizes. And Of course, hscmillionaire.com if you'd like to order online. All the details are on it. You can find out information on that big 50-50 and the cash plus options. 50-50, well over $1 million already. Again, it's hscmillionaire.com. All right, before we do the Coolbet lines, I was going to do this actually with Hacksaw, but then I figured we were probably going to be talking baseball and the gambling scandal. So let's get to this week's Chuds Power Sports NFL Power Poll. Of course, we do the Chuds Power Sports Power Poll for the National Hockey League earlier in the week. We go into the weekend with the NFL Power Poll. And on WST Sunday Live, Connor and Liz have been having a lot of fun putting their unique spin on the Chuds Power Sports Power Poll each and every week. But here's how things are looking for today's Power Poll. We started off at number 5, and that is the New England Patriots. The Bills aren't on this list. The Patriots beat the Bills in Buffalo, so they get the nod. Both teams are 5-2, but the Patriots have the head tiebreaker, so we're giving the Patriots the spot there. Full disclosure, the Chiefs should be higher, probably number 1, but I will put them at number 4 to keep people from losing it in the chat, but they are going up with the rocket, and I think it's only a matter of time before we can officially put them at the top. 4-3 for the Chiefs. Now, I gave Philly the nod over Kansas City because, of course, Philly did beat the Chiefs early in the season. I'd suggest the Chiefs are a different team now, but they did get the win. They're in at 3 after that nice win over the Vikings last week. But then a team the Chiefs just beat, the Detroit Lions, I have it number 2. So you can make an argument for any one of those 3 teams. We'll have Detroit at number 2. We'll have the Eagles at number 3. And Remis, could you imagine, what would you have said if I told you at the start of the year, dude, going into week 8, we're going to be doing the power poll? You would have been probably surprised about the Patriots. You would have totally believed the Chiefs, the Eagles, the Lions. But how about Danny Dimes and the Indianapolis Colts, 6-1 on the season and just steamrolling everybody in their path? They're more than 2 touchdown favorites this weekend at Tennessee. And Dimes, Jonathan Taylor, they get the number 1 spot on the power poll. How crazy is that?
Yeah, I would not have seen that one. I took Daniel Jones in the media league as like one of my last picks. He didn't really have a starting job, at least coming into training camp. It was Anthony Richardson's, and Jonathan Taylor's running the ball really well, scoring multiple touchdowns, and they're 6-1, as you said, probably going to 7-1. And if you're in a survivor pool, that is thankfully I still have them alive, so I'll be taking the Colts, or I did take them in our pool. So 7-1 or 6-1, on the verge of 7-1. I was less funny. Last week, I was surprised you had the Chiefs on at all. And this week, I'm surprised you have them 4th and not 2nd or
well,
1st. So
I mean, listen, you know where I want to put them. I mean, Indy deserves to be number 1. They're 6-1. They've had a great start. I see Shane Payne saying the Chiefs at 4 is laughable. I'm not sure that he thinks that they shouldn't be on or that they should be higher. Bottom line is, folks, as we move forward, the Chiefs are going to be moving up this power poll. I think we can count on that. Kind of unfortunate that no Jaden Daniels on Monday Night Football. It's going to be Marcus Mariota. But power poll brought to you by our friends at Chuds Power Sports, Manitoba's power sports superstore for over 80 years. Head on up and see him in Gimli, corner of Highway 8 and 231. And check them out online, chudspowersports.com. Speaking of which, I know we did the why not question of the day earlier on, but I will throw this in as well. I see Danielle Roy. Yeah, she's liking the Eagles. This will all be determined come playoff time, but it's always fun to talk about it right now. We do have the, I will say for why not, and bonus why not question of the day for not Autocorp at Waverly and McGillivray. Who is the number 1 team in the NFL? The number 1 team. Who's at the top of your power poll? We don't need the rest of it. Who's the number 1? I'll take a look at that. We do have a number of comments, so we'll just quickly get fan feedback done for Fansfirst, your number 1 spot for buying and selling Winnipeg tickets on the resale market, where what you see is what you pay. No added fees. Of course, another sold-out Bomber game tomorrow. You can find seats at fansfirst.ca. Jet games tonight and tomorrow and throughout the year. Always there with some great deals. And the best place to sell your tickets if you're looking to get rid of a couple is at Fans First. So as I mentioned, Shane Payne said the Chiefs at 4 is laughable. Not sure which side. Todd Fertani, what's up? The Eagles should be lower than the Chiefs. I kind of agree, but again, they did beat the Chiefs. But again, the Chiefs beat the Lions. I would have been taking heat one way or the other. Let's see here. The Barflies, yes, best in the NFL. There's some talks about the Bears. How are the Packers not in the power rankings? I mean, like, they're right there. I was thinking between them and New England. I'm still trying to think about the big quintessential, like, they beat Detroit. That was their big win. That was week 1. That's sort of a long time ago. They barely squeaked one out in Arizona last week. I think there's another level for Green Bay.
They wrecked everyone's survivor pool, the Packers.
How could I forget? You get on the suspended list if you lose to the Browns. Darth Skater is rolling with the Bears. And Sean Liska, yes, the Rangers strangely omitted. Todd. Oh, the Raiders are on some lists. That's right. Elias McCracken says Detroit Lions are easily number 1. Had a brain freeze against the Chiefs. Well, they got shut down. I mean, they only scored 17 points, and they usually just light up everybody else. Keep your thoughts coming in on the power poll for fan feedback. Fansfirst.ca. By fans, for fans, no fees. Check out the site today. All right, before we get to marbles, let's head over to Coolbet.com and check out what we've got cooking for tonight. Here we go. Game 1 of the World Series. Jays are an underdog. They'll be an underdog in every game. Plus 132 at home. The Dodgers at minus 149. Should mention to you, it's still available until first pitch. If you go into the Coolbet exclusives, you'll get the best number anywhere on the Toronto Blue Jays, plus 250 to win the World Series, boosted up from plus 186. And then, as we mentioned at the start of the show, great promo for tonight. Check out our X feed, the Coolbet X feed, or mine at Hustlerama. I've retweeted it. It's a special home run bonus. If you make a home run bet for anybody in the game tonight and bet $19.93 or more, and your home run bet loses, you'll get credited $19.93. So essentially, it's a free bet. What you need to do is make that bet, screen cap it, and then respond to the tweet with your Coolbet user number. And then any of the home run bets that don't hit, Patty and Jake will fire a $19.93 into your account. So essentially, it's a risk-free bet. I'm rolling with Alejandro Kirk tonight. He is my guy. I know a lot of people are on Vladdy Jr., a lot of Dalton Varsho. I saw Teoscar Hernandez as well. So World Series bet insurance. Take advantage of that tonight if you're playing over at Coolbet. CFL lines, this Bomber line sure has changed. Bombers were like 10-point favorites earlier this week. The books saw the rosters. The Bombers are now 3-point favorites, which is funny. I mean, based on who Montreal's playing and who Winnipeg's playing, I'm surprised that Montreal hasn't flipped to a favorite. But anyways, Bombers minus 3. Tonight, Hamilton, 13.5-point faves. They just need to win to clinch the East. Calgary is in Edmonton. The Elks, 5.5-point home dogs. And the final game of the regular season is BC at Saskatchewan tomorrow. BC, 7-point favorites. And as we mentioned, the Bombers, the longest shot, still on the board for the Grey Cup, 10-1. BC and Calgary, 5-1. Hamilton, plus 340. Montreal, 3-1. And the Riders, a slight favorite, at plus 290. All the NFL lines are up. If you want more on this week's NFL picks, go to the YouTube right after we're done. Check out today's edition of WST Winners. Was 5-0 last week. No big deal. 9-1 in the last 2. And we hit the partner parlay last week as well. We've cooked up some other beauties. You can check the combo cards for that, as well as the exclusives and all of our picks, props. And we did cook up a fun one for National Tight End Day. We've got touchdowns for I should pull this back up, Remo. I think it's in the combo cards right now. I went with Dalton Kincaid. Pat went with. Do we have it there, Reem? Here we are. It's week 5, week 7. I'm sorry, this is on the run here. Yes, okay. Dalton Kincaid. Jake's on Dallas Goddard. Pat's on my guy Tyler Warren. And don't think
like
that the National Tight End Day, they aren't looking for tight ends to get in the house. So that is up there in the combo cards. Our regular touchdown parlay, which just missed last week thanks to Jalen Hurts. Jake's guy got 3 touchdowns. Devontae Adams. Would have been nice to use those. James Cook, J.K. Dobbins, and Derrick Henry. And then our partner parlay for the week, we're taking Houston on the money line, Dallas plus 3.5, and the Bills minus 6.5. That's up there as well. All sorts of great boosted combos. So check that out. And hey, again, if you haven't played a Coolbet before, use that promo code WST for a special discount on moving services. WST for 100% bonus up to $200 on your first deposit. And maybe you can bet on the guys at Rollies of how fast it'll take to move your stuff as well. Obviously, that's not in it. One other thing in the exclusives that we cooked up, James Cook, 92 or more rush and receiving yards combined. Christian McCaffrey, 116 rush and receiving yards combined. And Cade Otton, 5 or more receptions, plus 725. That one's in the exclusive. Everything else up in the combo cards. And, of course, Jake and Pat at the ball game tonight. They'll be cranking out a whole bunch of content throughout the weekend, so make sure to keep your eyes on that. I'll probably RT some of it. Boys are going to have a good time. Well, Remo, it's been a big week. Busy night tonight with the Jet game. I'm going to be watching the Jays on my phone while from my seat at the game. But it's nice to have this many viewing options as well. What do you think about a little marble race to get things going for the weekend?
Yeah, I got a new theme song with special guest vocalist as well for today.
Excuse me?
Very exciting. I just thrown it to that right now.
Are we ready to go for it? Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't know if I've had this much intrigue before the Marbles song in a long time. Special new vocalist with the theme for the Marbles. Let's go. Marbles time on WST. Tristan Rivers Music. Take it away. That was incredible. The GNR version of the Marble song by Tristan Rivers Music, who, of course, is part of what both an AC/DC and GNR tribute act and what they're rocking next weekend at South Beach Casino for Halloween.
Yeah, October 31, South Beach Casino, the GNR and AC/DC cover band. So
the comments are amazing. Yeah, and of course Candace killing it with the like the visuals on that. It didn't do justice if you only listened to it on the podcast. Just incredible creativity from those two. Thank you guys so much. Heck of a way to start off the marble race and the weekend, Reem.
Yeah, that was amazing. Candace is like, is it okay if it's a minute 30 marble race song?
Yep, it's fine.
And I'm like,
could be like Estranged, like a 9-minute song. I would play it. I would just be grooving to it the whole time.
she's like, it's a Guns N' Roses theme. I said, I'm in. And then, I had a rough morning. My 3-year-old daughter decided that she didn't want to listen to me when I told her to brush her teeth. But nothing put me in a better mood than listening to the Sweet Marble Race of Mine or whatever.
Two things actually put you in a great mood this morning.
Oh, yes.
The GNR Marble theme was one of them.
Yeah, it was one of them. And one of Jeff's Twitter interactions this morning I found very, very entertaining.
Yeah, go check the replies on the Hammer. The Hammer came out hot this morning on the old social media platform. Probably still in a heater from his poker win earlier. All right, people say, yeah, Mike Wynn, best tune so far. I'm with you. That was amazing. Comments are just going nuts. All right, well let's do this. Where are we going today?
We are going. Where are we going today? Oh, I just wrote it down. And by the way, shout out to listener Alan Clayton. He sent us a couple Bomber tickets throughout the year. He sent me 2 tickets for tomorrow. We're giving them away. Enter the link. It's the pin comment. winnipegsportstalk.com/contest. You have until 4:00 to enter. I just want to make sure they get to some of the games tomorrow at 2.
Yeah, don't enter if you can't make the game, people, please. If you want to go to the game and you have tickets, enter. Otherwise, let someone that wants to go get them.
I can't tell you how often people enter, and I email them, and they're like, oh, I can't go. I didn't think I was going to win. People just want the feeling of winning. They don't care about the prize, but please don't do that.
That's what the marble race is for, people. This is for people that can go to the game tomorrow afternoon, Princess Auto Stadium. Another sellout for the blue and gold.
Okay, so yeah, amazing, absurd activity. It's got a weird finish, but I did like it. It was very, very chaotic finish. I reviewed. Let me close
Perfect.
all my tabs. I got all these tabs.
Close your
open.
tabs and throw me in. Schnitzy, I see what you did there. Jeff was very ballsy on Twitter. Yes, indeed. Yes, he was. That's a great way of putting it.
I will say, Jeff on CFL 110, when it came to the Bombers portion at the start, really brought the heat there.
Big time.
And I posted that clip on X. I mean, I could have made it way longer, but it was very entertaining.
It was, and it's been getting a little bit of traction and some responses, and Hammer never shies down from his takes, whether they be here on WST, in the paper, or on social media. What is going on? Rip City Step, Chauncey gave me a hot tip on who's tanking the marble race today. Yes, Hammer, the big... Just wondering, is mail service okay now? No idea on that one.
I get mail sometimes.
Every now and then it shows up. Mail's always bad news for the most part. Get the bills on email. All right, let's do this.
Okay, we have 226 marbles.
Beautiful.
And I'll add you in at Hustler, all caps. Then deal.
Beautiful. Tonight, by the way, while you get it going, tonight's first pitch, Cito Gaston throwing it out tonight. And tomorrow, Joe Carter.
Incredible.
How about that is good. Feels like 93 again, folks. 7:00 tonight, first pitch. Trey Savage, who was not born, even close to being born, in 1993, taking the ball for John Schneider.
I don't know if it's 90s week because the Blue Jays are in the World Series. It's 90s night at the Jets game, and NBA on NBC is back this year, and they're playing the Round Ball Rock NBC theme, and they're asking the players about it, and like the current players have no idea what it is, and that was the intro. Then they had like Barkley, Patrick Ewing, but Michael Jordan is involved. Did you hear that story? Where he says he hasn't touched a basketball and he rented a house for Ryder Cup or something, and the owner challenged him to shoot a free throw in front of his kids. And he said he never felt so nervous in his life, but did make the shot.
Oh man, this is great. Yes, Round Ball Rock, as performed and written by John Tesh,
Yeah.
former Entertainment Tonight host, along with Mary Hart. That's how I knew who John Tesh was as a kid.
Mary Hart, big Dodger fan. I'm sure we'll be seeing her at some point in the series. And Geddy Lee, the super, who's got the better celeb super fan? The Dodgers, seemingly everyone, or Geddy
Is Larry
Lee?
King still kicking around behind a home plate at the
he's not
Chavez
alive.
Ravine? Oh, he is.
He hasn't been alive for a long time.
Ooh, sorry about that, Larry.
What about Rob Lowe, though, wearing an MLB hat? He'll be there, right?
Exactly. Fan of the league. All right, let's do this.
Let me see. It's funny when they ask who should do the first pitch. I guess I've been playing a lot of Immaculate Grid lately. I was like, Sean Green, great Dodger and great Blue Jay. That was what I thought. But what do I know?
I'm trying to think of other Dodgers.
Well, whenever I
for
do
the Jays and Blue Jays,
whenever I do Immaculate Grid, I'm like Sean Green, the guy he was traded for, Ruel Mondesi. Was Ryan Friel one of them? Maybe Jason Worth. I haven't played a lot of Immaculate Grid lately, but I was very addicted couple years ago in the summer.
I still like the puck dokus. Those are always fun to fire out.
Very fun.
All right, here we go. Yeah, Gibby to throw a toss a pitch. I'm not sure whether Gibby. I think they're going to focus in. Last time it was like the 2015 guys. Now they're getting into the 93 guys. So there'll be a bunch of Jays here. Well, hopefully we've got game 6 and 7 to go, and the series gets back to it. I don't think it's very likely that the Jays run away with this thing in 4 or 5 games, but hopefully we're talking about games next week. All right, marbles time, everybody. I think we're just about ready to do this.
Yeah, I'm just loading it up here. 227 marbles in amazing, absurd activity.
All right, folks.
I believe
how
this is
works.
the one.
Good luck to everybody. The winner will hook you up with the WST hoodie as a marbles champion. If you win, hit us up with an email, winnipegsportstalk@gmail.com, and let me know your size. I'll let you know as well. All right, here we are. Amazing, absurd activity. Another new track. 227 of you. Let's drop the marbles and get her going and officially start this massive sports weekend on WST. All right, we got the Plinko start. Who's coming out first? Snuka, 2002. There's Les R. Moose 3. Slobo 15 with a nice start. Now we got these. What do we call these obstacles room where they have those spinning things?
I have no idea.
Some loop-de-loops. Oh, Phyllis. Phyllis didn't make it. I think Winnipeg Chester also just got smoked. Timothy Brown in first place right now. And Candace Jane. Candace after incredible artwork. Oh, and T. Will in the mix as well. Darcy Manchuk just got popped, unfortunately for her. Tracy O, who just had a good take in the chat that I was going to read. She's too busy trying to win this race right now. But T. Will and Timothy Brown, Candace Jane, Tracy O, sort of the lead group right now, as Lego Guy and Charlie Defoe, amongst a few others, sort of get into the mix. But it does look like it's T. Will right now going through. I see there's Mary Jane. But yeah, T. Will is in first right now. I don't know if T. Will has ever won before, actually. He's always in it. That would be wild. All right, double orb action here. I don't know how this is going to work. You go from one to the other. You make it in from one and then go into the next round of them? No, apparently not. Mike Cochran, Winnipeg, who won last week. Has anyone ever gone back-to-back? That would be something. It looks like Mike could very well beat. No, it's Robert. Robert, is that Svensson or Swanson?
Swanson, yeah.
Robert Swanson, Timothy Brown. This is a wild one. I'm not sure exactly where. Oh, Robert Swanson, I think, got whacked. That was unfortunate. This is a wild track, Remis. You are not kidding.
Yeah, the end's going to get crazy. Like, they go around and come back. You'll see.
All right. Well, we're just trying to keep track on all of the action here with where everybody is going. Just rolling through this, coming back up. And now we'll see. There's a lot of marbles getting shot directly through. I'm still not really sure of who's in first and where we're going here.
I think it's Danielle is in first, and D. Mikulak are first and second. They're coming down the pipe right now, and Tico Napoli's in third.
Oh,
So
wow.
you see,
Okay. Showing a little difference. Danielle had probably the most harsh ending to what should have been a win. Can she get the victory today and make it happen? Yes, Danielle. Remis, do you remember it was the week of the Chiefs-Eagles game? Danielle's a big Eagles fan, and she was right there at the end, and then something popped up and shot her back, and someone came through?
I think I remember that.
That
yes.
was her redemption. That was her redemption today. Way to go, Danielle. Hopefully that's your win this week. I hope the Eagles lose, but you at least have a great weekend because you won the marble race. Congratulations. Congratulations. Saw Danielle and her crew at the game last night. Great to see. So Danielle is our winner. D. Mikulak, David Jameson, Candace Jane, top 4. Nicely done. There's Ron P. Oh, Tico Napoli. Bailey the intern. Star-studded top 10 today. Rick Fair, David Steinhilber, and Winnipeg sports fan, the top 10 today. But Danielle Roy, after a heartbreaking, one of the cruelest near misses in marbles history about a month ago, comes back and wins it. What a way to start the weekend. Let's run down. We just got you through the top 10. Cruiser and Lego guy just outside. There's Pretty and Pionk, Boba Jet, T. Will, and Schnitzy. Nice run, Schnitzy. Tracy O and Mary Jane. Man, a lot of the regulars just doing well today. There's Royal. Speaking of which, if you missed earlier, jerseys, jerseys, World Series hats, all just got in there right now. They're probably going to be all gone today, so rip down there if you want to get them done. There's Ray, there's Velveeta, Ringer 1972, Tyson Ducharme. There's Dr. Terry, 53, not bad. Shout out to our friends at St. Vital Dental Center. There's Pat Rathwell, AJ, Donnie Boy. What's up, Donnie? Real Deal Neil. There's Roscoe ahead of me. Nicely done, Ross. I think that's a win for you. I'm still looking for... Oh, there's the Dream. Jamie Stevenson, nicely done. Bullish Bradley. Eagle Eyes. There's All Caps Kyle. Who else do we have? Mr. V-Dub. I think I may have gotten top roped. There's everyone that did not make it through today. I'm not sure whether I actually ended up being in there or not. Oh, well.
49th.
Oh, 49th. I don't know how I missed that. And
Hustler's Diet
Pepsi.
Didn't finish.
Cheers. Yeah, well, I will finish this one. Folks, awesome show today and a really fun week. Monday will be a fun show. We'll be recapping the World Series, games 1 and 2. 2 big games for the Jets. Again, don't forget, 90s night tonight. 5,000 fans. The first 5K. Get that cool corduroy 90s Jets hat that the players have been wearing. So a nice giveaway. Get there early if you want to get your hands on that. And then Sunday at 5, our first look at the Utah Mammoth this year. That's going to do it for us. Huge thanks to Hacksaw, Murat Ates, Jeff Hamilton, of course, Michael Remis making it all happen, and all of you for being a part of your day, or our day. And, of course, a huge thanks to the sponsors that make things happen on WST. Do not forget post-game coverage with Connor after the game, usually around the end of K&R. It should be up. It'll certainly be up for you in the morning, so you can catch that before or after Illegal Curve with the WST thoughts on the game last night. And Sunday morning, 9 a.m., Connor and Liz, WST Sunday Live. getting ready for the first visit of the year from the Utah Mammoth. Enjoy the ball game tonight. Enjoy the Jets games this weekend, all the football. And we will see you Monday to break it all down for you right here on Winnipeg Sports Talk. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Oh, my God. Oh! Shut it down. Let's go home.
Thanks for tuning in to Winnipeg Sports Talk Daily. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcast feed at winnipegsportstalk.com.